of those 1.5 million nonprofits just won't accept real estate. So the solution is a specialized nonprofit that exclusively accepts gifts of real estate. So if we think of the American Humane Society, their mission is to help animals. If we think of all the homeless shelters, their missions are to help our people not be homeless. The special.
If you want to, I'm going to put a link for this video. If you want to watch the video, if you're able to, I'm going to put a link in here too. Thank you for coming.
They absorb all of the title and financial risk. They work with the brokerage community to sell the real estate at a full commission. They pay them that full commission. They grant to the other nonprofits the bulk of the cash proceeds. This is a really quick, bullet point of what these specialized nonprofits do. And this screen and the next screen, you'll see a lot of nonprofits that have benefited from the specialized
nonprofits. Feel free to join me if you can.
What they do. So as you look around this screen, I am sure that you recognize 1, 2, 3, at least half, if not all of them. They have all gotten money from a gift of real estate that they did not take title to, that they had no risk.
Examples here are United Way, Fidelity, Charitable, Habitat for Humanity, Girl Scouts, National Geographics, World Vision, Wounded Warrior Project, U.S. Charitable Gift Trust, Dale Earnhardt Foundation, and a lot of churches also.
Uno, right on the top of the pyramid, they bring in $13 billion just themselves. And guess what? Even they don't do their own real estate transactions because of all the reasons I mentioned earlier and more that you'll be hearing in a little bit. Even they leverage the same real estate team we do. So when people talk about, well, is this real? How do we know it works? Who's doing it? What's the credibility? It is the same group that Fidelity Charitables chooses and all these others as well. Friends, this is about the universities. Think about the universities in your own marketplace. They're all nonprofit. They all have 20, 50, 100 plus years of students and alma mater that have pledged to give a certain amount of money to them. And when they know that their alma mater can give what they have pledged from a gift of real estate, they want to know about that. So let's really open our minds to the magnitude of what we've all stumbled upon here. Now, I just want to share with you some examples as we move through. There's going to be some videos where we introduce you to the specialized nonprofit and we talk about specific deals. This is one that was donated to the Martin Luther King community, and you'll notice that the dates are on all of these. We got them right off the internet so that you could see the date. Just a little over a year and a half ago, 1.7 million. So you'll hear us talk about the average amount being $550,000. But what if it was a $1.7 million listing that you got paid a full commission on, or that the proceeds went to the nonprofit that you love? See, this is transformational, not transactional. Now let's get into why the specialized nonprofit, why they were created. See, they knew, especially the one that you'll meet in the videos that we use the most. We found a handful around the country, but the ones that we work with are the best resources for our clients and students and people that we collaborate with. And they knew 20 years ago that 43% of our wealth is held in real estate. And notice that only 3% is held in cash. Yet, 90% of what nonprofits bring in is coming from that 3% of cash, and only 2% is coming from real estate. So if you look at the numbers on the right-hand side, these are actual numbers that we get from the Bible of nonprofit donations, which is Giving USA. Over $474 billion was given in 2020, and $9 billion, or 2% of that, came from real estate. But the opportunity here is for us to change it from just that 2% and $9 billion to a lousy 6.5%. So what if that 2% were to go to 6.5%? That's where that 20 billion extra that was mentioned a few slides ago comes into play. So the nonprofits are still getting their 433 billion from cash, and they're still getting their 32 billion from stock.
Give me 1 second. Let me get to, give me a second here. Let me transfer the sound to my computer. And give me a sec. I hope you guys are all enjoying this. And I just plugged in my camera, so bear with me 1 second. I gotta. There we go.
That 29 billion creates almost 2 billion in real estate commission. And that's only if it's equity only. But what we know is these donations of real estate are not all equity. And what that means is if the average donation is 550,000 and 540,000 in this example, what if the listing was $1 million, or like the one we just looked at, 1.7 million? So in other words, the commission to the real estate agents is really even more than that, because it's rare that the property donated is totally full equity. So the benefit for the charities and their champions is exactly why this organization, the RAOC, the Real Agents of Change, was created. We are an organically growing group of real estate professionals, financial professionals, nonprofits, fundraisers, visionaries, community leaders who can see that the system is broken, that real estate is hot, and that fundraising is not. The goal here is to help all of those who really want to take a stand for their communities and make money making a difference, help them become proactive versus reactive. Meaning, if we know what this is, which we do now, and we'll definitely have a solid knowledge base by the next couple of hours, if we know what it is and we just sit back on our laurels and wait for someone to randomly mention it to us, that's one position to take. But when we become engaged and become proactive in teaching or informing or putting posts on social media or putting it on our website or having conversations at those fundraising committees about this, oh boy, that's when we go from 9 billion to 29 billion a year. So just to give you a little bit of background about why I even saw this, like, this has been around for 100 years. We didn't invent it. We did not invent donations of real estate. We did not invent specialized nonprofits. They've been around for 20 years. It was that vision of being a top 5% realtor and knowing what it's like out in the trenches and the door knocking and the cold calling and the commission splitting and the crying, looking for new listings and competing and cutting commission and all those things and all of the money invested in lead generating and coaching, like knowing what my real estate friends go through. And then on top of that, doing all that fundraising with Ronald McDonald House and Make-A-Wish and local nonprofits, I just saw something a little bit differently. And I thought, you know what? There are 2 million realtors in this country. What if 1% of us were to understand how this works. What if just 1%, one out of every 100 realtors, were to step up and tell their community, friends, there's a better way. Let's feed these kids. Let's house these homeless. So it was the real estate experience and the networking experience. Dear God, I've been to thousands of networking events, spoken at them, exchanged tens of thousands of business cards, and I had never heard of it. And I know how the financial advisors and the CPAs and the accountants and all the businesses, how we all just want to make a difference, but we also need to make money. With that nonprofit experience and knowing how hard it is to do a fundraiser, 3 to 6 months of it, all this time, talent, and treasure, just hoping that the fundraiser even happens. Cause marketing campaigns, or what you might know as social responsibility. Friends, 87% of your marketplace will choose you over the competition when they know that you're socially responsible. And the reason that this is the biggest social responsibility campaign ever created is because instead of just helping, and look, everyone, there are 30 subcategories in the IRS tax code of nonprofits that are 501c3. And whether it's veterans or animals or children or human trafficking or the environment or universities or churches, they all are so deserving. And from a business perspective, instead of choosing 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10, what if you could help all of them to get funded? See, that's why this is the best social responsibility campaign. You plant your flag in an awareness campaign, letting your market know that you're the go-to charitable real estate champion that can fund nonprofits on average $550,000. That's how you build relationships. That's how you are introduced to new resources, and that is how you increase your revenue. Now, the book Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not came out about 30 days ago, and I'm putting some in the mail tomorrow that have been ordered on Amazon. We have the National Awareness Campaign, List the Legacy listing. We've got all kinds of videos that you can leverage to send out to people that you know to help them understand what this is. We are providing all of these resources to help you inform and educate people. Now, Michael DeShavi was the very first realtor I called 3 years ago when I learned about charitable real estate. Michael and I had worked together in network marketing. We've known each other 13, 15 years. I coached him in real estate. He's just one of the kindest souls you'll ever meet. And he is licensed in Brooklyn. And I called him up and I said, Michael, I don't know what we're going to do with this, but charitable gifting of real estate. I'm not going to coach you anymore on doing fundraisers. Let's just help these people get funded. So that's the end of section 1. I'm going to stop sharing and just come back and see if you guys have any questions. Jackie Miller, can you go back a slide? Unmute yourself, Jackie, and tell me what it is that you would like some clarity on. I'm happy to help.
Hi, Cami. Let's see here. So I missed the part of the percentages of charitable giving in the form of blank and the other part of the percentages giving gifts.
Okay, so charitable gifting, 90% comes from cash. And by the way, the blank that she's talking about, you'll notice that there are words that are underlined in each of these slides. There's actually a workbook. So if you're wanting to get certified, the workbook walks you through exactly what's going to be on the test. And in the workbook, there's blanks there, and you fill it in as we go along. So just FYI, Jackie, you will be getting a recording of this presentation as someone who's stepping into getting certified, and you will also get a workbook with all the answers in it.
Thank you.
But just to answer your question, 90% of what nonprofits bring in comes from cash, which is only 3% the pocket change that we have in our pocket. Whether we make 20,000 or 20 million a year, got about 3% in our pocket change. But 43% of our wealth is held in real estate. And that is why charitable gifting of real estate, the proceeds will always be a better way to fund our nonprofits than cash.
Okay, that answered it. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Anybody else want to ask a quickie?
I have a question, Cammie.
Sure.
What was that statistic you gave? Was it 80% of people will choose an agent that is for social justice?
It's actually 87%, Barkley,
Wow.
and thank you for asking. Alan actually found for us a whole chart that another company did that shows 8 or 10 different statistics, and it has been proven over and over. I first learned that statistic 10 years ago when I was teaching only cause marketing, how to market your for-profit with a nonprofit in mind. So I was teaching real estate companies and financial advisors and Main Street USA how to grab onto, a child with cancer. How can we find that little girl, and how can we also get out and meet lots of business people at the same time? So I've been doing this social responsibility thing for at least 10 years, and this number has always popped up. Now there's even more numbers that support this. Like, for example, by 2025, 50% of the workforce in America will be millennials. And the reason that's important to all of us is because I think it's 72% of them won't even work for a company that's not on purpose. Meaning they know, yes, they need to get paid. Yes, they want a paycheck. Sure, they want to make money. But what's even more important to them is making a difference. So if a company doesn't have some kind of corporate social responsibility in place, they won't even apply, number one. Number two, 87% of those will work for less money because the company is socially responsible. So in other words, we're not trying to go out and hire people at a lower rate and take advantage of them. What we're saying is you can get a better quality candidate on your real estate team, in your real estate office, as a financial advisor, working for your nonprofit, etc., when you're totally showing up as socially responsible. So thank you for asking about that stat.
Yeah, really cool statistics. Thank you.
We are creating a CE course starting in Florida. It's one state at a painful time, but in Florida we've created a CE course where we actually put that chart in it about that statistic. Alan, could you please send Barkley or send it to me in Facebook private messenger if you still have that diagram that you sent me, and I'll get it to you, Barkley. So, and as a matter of fact, guys,
got it.
My assistant Grace has put in the chat a sheet, a spreadsheet that you can put your name and email and phone number in. We have most of you anyway, but if you put it in there, then we'll make sure that you get any of the resources that we talk about in this class. So make sure that you put your email on there, and we'll make sure you all get that chart. It's a good one. Anyone else? Okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to share, Grace, do you have it queued up to share success story number 1?
Cammie, I got people on Clubhouse also.
Awesome. Just let me know over in the chat, Sam, if I'm rambling and you've got somebody that wants to ask a question. I'll go over and check it at every break.
Absolutely. Thank you, Cammie. You're doing wonderful.
You're welcome. Grace, do you have the success story to share? What we have right now, guys, we've got many success stories of land, residential, commercial. The story is about where the donor.
Don, Pamela, please feel free to share with your people Don, you're in mortgage. You definitely want to see what we're doing here and how we're basically. There's three parts of this, but you'll hear about this. Do you have time to stay here? I'm going to invite you up to stage real quick here. Hey, Don, how are you?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Fantastic. I want to invite you up to stage. I'm doing, this is charitable gifts of real estate to nonprofits. And everyone needs to know about this because it's been going on since 1917. And it's an amazing opportunity for those that are connected with a lot of those folks that have high net worth that would give a piece of real estate to nonprofits. Hold on a second. They're doing a video. I'm going to go back to this real quick.
We are speaking with Bruce
Yes,
Geis from Realty Gift Fund, talking about another case study where a donor has donated real estate to benefit the nonprofit world. Bruce, tell us our story for today.
Okay, this is an interesting one because it's a case of a nonprofit who was a late donor 2021 to us. First time they'd ever met Realty Gift Fund. And we stepped in and fulfilled a need they had. They had a donor with 13 pieces of property. They wanted to get off their books and donate by December 31st, 2021 to benefit this nonprofit. And we took a call on a Sunday afternoon and we said, absolutely, would be delighted to do this. Ultimately, that donation led to a check going to that nonprofit for about $408,000. It took about, I think the check went out in late March. We had to sell 13 pieces of property to get there. Here's the interesting part for us. This nonprofit immediately, as this was underway, started marketing gifts of real estate. And now we are under contract to do the second deal for them, which is a residential condominium in Carmel, California, owned by a woman who actually lives in Berkeley and is never going to use this property again. It was gifted to her a long time ago by her mom. It's in a senior community that she is not going to move into. And so she has made a gift to us, and we are going to sell it to somebody who wants to live in this senior community. We have run the math. We have talked to our broker. We have talked to our title company. We know that we need to invest $20,000 to get it ready for the market. And we believe that we are quite easily going to net for this nonprofit $600,000. Here's why this is an interesting story. We didn't know this nonprofit December 1st. Here it is, late spring the following year, and we're about to do $1 million worth of donations for this nonprofit from 2 pieces of donated property. That, I think, is a good story.
Amen. That's a great story. Now, you mentioned that this nonprofit got proceeds from a gift of real estate, and they're like, oh, okay, we didn't even know this was possible. And they started marketing to their donors that they could. Do you know what they were saying to their donors? Do you know what the marketing piece looked like?
I have no idea what the marketing piece looked like. We have been awfully busy in this first 5 months of the year, just keeping up with our work. I know that they got underway with their marketing almost as soon as we signed up to do this deal with them. So by January 1st, even though we hadn't sold the first donation that delivered the charitable funds to them, they were anticipating how well this deal was going to go.
So, interesting. Fascinating. Imagine that. A nonprofit was told, hey, there's a donor that has real estate. We are going to handle the transaction. You don't have to do anything. Doesn't even matter what the address is. Don't worry about it. But we just want you to know how much money you're going to be getting so you can start planning what you're going to do with $400,000. And the nonprofit said, What? We're getting 400 from what? From real estate? They started talking to their other donors. Hey, friends, we just learned we can get funding from real estate. Just want to let you know. You got any real estate laying around? And bam, another woman comes to the table and says, yes, I do. Friends, that's how it works. You're turning key number 1 right now. Learn. Key number 2 is lead generation. And that nonprofit turned key number 2 very quickly and easily. Questions, comments, concerns, or shall we jump on in to section 2? All right, looks like you guys are just hungry to keep turning that key number 1. So uno momento, and we will jump on into section number 2.
And they were used.
Okay. Please feel free to put it in the chat box. Guys, this is a lot more fun for me and for you, and a lot more interesting, and it creates a lot more knowledge base when we get some interaction going on. So please feel free, pop in the chat. What would your nonprofit do with $500,000, or in this case, $1 million that we just heard about from this nonprofit? It's got 2 donations. Who is the nonprofit that you love? What marketplace are you in? Share your phone number and your email. You know, like we said earlier, people that come to this, we only attract really good, generous, heart-centered, savvy business people, and those nonprofits that are visionary and wanting to do something different in the world. So don't be afraid to share your information. This is how that nonprofit got the second donation of real estate, is by sharing who they are and how real estate works. So just be engaging, please. Okay, benefits and strategies. Let's start breaking this down a little bit, okay? Here's how it works. There are 3 stakeholders, or what I like to think of as the triangle of trust. The first stakeholder involved in charitable gifting of real estate is the donor of the real estate, which could be a private individual or a corporation. Guess what? I learned in Giving USA book that I believe it is 82% of all donations come from private people, not even corporations. So there's donors, okay? The second of the 3 stakeholders is the advisory community. So when I say advisory, just think to yourself, who advises others about real estate? Who is a professional that has some kind of input to advise people who own real estate? Tax accountants, CPA, real estate attorney, wealth managers, real estate agents, advisors, okay? And the third of this 3-legged stool, or trifecta of trust, is the nonprofit themselves, which can be a public charity, a donor advised
Close
fund.
the door, please.
We'll talk about in a little bit. And this is why we call it the triangle of trust, because it looks like this. You got these 3 key people that are required to make a donation of real estate happen. So the donors are a yes. A yes to what? They're a yes to gifting of real estate. $9 billion a year is donated to nonprofits, and experts are saying that $9 billion can and will go to $29 billion when the nonprofits and the donors learn how easy this can be with this third-party credible specialist. So suffice it to say, the donors are yes. You cannot convince someone to give their property to charity. What you can do is educate and inform them of their options and opportunities, and they are a yes when it is right for them. Advisory community. Well, heck yeah, they're going to make money making a difference. The realtor gets a full commission. The financial advisors can add to the fees that they earn from assets under management. And when you really roll up your sleeves and learn about how we leverage real estate for real change, any and all businesses can make money from this. Challenge me on it. I'd love to have a conversation about it after this next section. So yes, from donors, yes, from advisors. It is the nonprofits that are the no. So you say, well, I've been real estate 30 years. I've never heard of this. I've been a nonprofit. I would talk to people who have been in the nonprofit world for 40 years and have never dealt with a piece of real estate. Why? Because most of them must say no for lots of reasons. It is so complex, friends. It is so complex and scary to do work. Now, if you're a professional in real estate, you might be thinking, well, it's not that scary to me, but that's because it's your mission in life. It's what you do. Trust me, an animal shelter, what they do is pick up poo and pet puppies and adopt them out. They don't know anything about real estate. It is way too complex. It is way too much risk. It is so risky. Even when a piece of real estate is being donated that on the surface looks simple and there's no mortgage and it's just here's the keys, here's the deed. What happens if there's an environmental issue? What if you find out there's an oil tank under the ground? Like, it's just too risky. They won't do it. They have the lack of allowable funds. So we have Connie Myers here on this call today. She has created a nonprofit and has generously asked me to be on the board. So I am, for the first time, on a nonprofit board. And friends, even the visionary revolutionist who's bringing this to the country and the world, even our nonprofit can't take its own gifts of real estate because of this third bullet point, lack of allowable funds. I'm not paying off mortgages. I'm not going to take on the insurance and cutting the grass and filling the oil tank up north, et cetera, et cetera. Friends, these are all the reasons why nonprofits don't and should not take their own gifts of real estate. They lack the expertise. Mission drift. Alan talks about this a lot. I love that he's really wrapped his head around what we mean by mission drift. He loves to support our veterans and our veteran nonprofits because he is a veteran. We have a rescue dog and love to help the animals. He's faith-based and wants to help churches. And we know that if one of these nonprofits gets a piece of real estate across the country that requires management, talking to title companies and hiring a landscaper, blah, blah, blah. Friends, it pulls them off mission. We don't want them being pulled off mission. Guess what else pulls them off mission? Fundraisers. Spending 3 to 6 months, or God forbid, a whole year putting together a gala or a golf tournament. Talk about getting pulled off mission. Let's just fund them so they can do their mission. All right. Some nonprofits have heard about bad experiences or have had a bad experience. Happens, hey, look, real estate can have bad experiences. These are all reasons that it is the nonprofit themselves that have been stopping this. So many of them have it written right in their gift acceptance policies, no non-cash assets, especially no real estate. And most of them, even if they will take real estate, like there are community foundations that on the surface will take real estate, they'll take it if it's offered to them, if it's local, if it's mortgage free, and if it meets another 100 criteria. In other words, very, very limited basis. So they say things like, we took a gift of real estate once, we'll never do that again. Don't even talk to me about that. Or we do accept real estate on a limited basis, only when our board can have the next 6 months to talk about it and approve it, and never if it involves a cash payment. That would be something like what a community foundation would say. So what we are suggesting is that the specialized nonprofit is the nonprofit for all nonprofits because their mission is to accept real estate. It's all they do. All they do from morning to night, day to day, week to week. It's all they do. So when they step in to help any and all other nonprofits, you can see how it removes the risk and gives all the nonprofits the ability to confidently talk to their donors, just like that first story we heard. They found out that they were getting money that they were not doing a thing for. There was no risk. There was no out-of-pocket expense. So all they did was tell their donors, friends, that's all you got to do. So here's what the awakening looks like. Non-cash versus cash gifts. Number one, when a nonprofit is able to benefit from non-cash assets, they grow their endowments at 6 times the rate of those that only accept cash. Dr. Russell James has been doing this research for 20 years. He wrote the foreword for our book. They have looked at the tax returns. They understand how this works. It is time to wake up. It's time for them to wake up. Donors give 3 to 7 times more because they are asset rich and cash conservative. There are these experts all over the country that are helping people understand how this works. No additional donors are needed. Switching to a new type of asset is instantaneous. Let me break that down for you. Every nonprofit has donors. And even Connie Myers, who's on here with us, and she may not have a big list of donors yet because she just got her 501c3 in the last couple of months. You know what she does have? She has dozens, hundreds, thousands of friends in the real estate business who can actually make money from helping her make a difference. So when we talk about switching to a new type of asset, think about your church that has 5,000 people, or the soup kitchen that is doing fundraisers every 3 months, and there's thousands of people in the local marketplace that support them. Those people that are already on their donor list, that is where these donations come from. Now, granted, as we teach people about this, we might have a real estate agent who never heard of Connie's nonprofit, but now that she knows about Connie's nonprofit, she's across the country. We tell her, hey, listen, you're going to get a full commission from any donations of real estate that are in your marketplace. She can help her local church, she can help her local veterans group, etc. But if she finds a donor who just needs the tax deduction and doesn't care who gets the money, well, she can help Connie. So there's so many ways that this is a win-win-win to work together. And the nonprofits do not have to shift their acceptance policies. All they need to do is safely ask their donors, hey, did you know you could donate real estate? Did you know that we could benefit from it? Did you know that there was a tax benefit for you? So the collaboration, we love to say, do what you do best and refer the rest. So what the nonprofits do, the nonprofits strengthen their donors' interest. You know, Connie is out promoting her cause. And as a matter of fact, Connie, if you're still on, if you want to give it a 30-second commercial when we come back at the end of this section, that's what you do best. What you do best is to promote your own cause and let people know that they can help. They cultivate the emotional connection. You know, whether it's breast cancer or animals or veterans or education, the reason people give is because there's an emotional connection. Sharing the benefits of non-cash gifts is all that nonprofit did in the last story. That's what they do best. To start asking for gifts of real estate. So when those nonprofits are picking up the phone and thanking that donor for the $25 donation they made last month, or thanking people as they walk around the gala that showed up at $500 a ticket, all they have to do is let them know that they can benefit from real estate, because it is the specialized nonprofit that accepts the real estate and fixes it and sells it and grants them the proceeds. They intervene. They step in. They are the experts to explain the tax benefits and to do the net sheet. They provide all the resources that real estate requires so that the Boys and Girls Club or even Connie's nonprofit doesn't have to worry about who the title company is or how to pay off a mortgage. They solve the complexities. There are lots of stories that we have. Grace, if you can put in the chat, or Alan, if you're listening, therock.com/donations. Friends, do yourself a favor and do not go down the rabbit hole of watching these videos right now. I just want you to know that there are case studies you can watch that show you how these complex deals can happen when you got an expert that knows how to handle them. And then they grant the bulk of the net proceeds to the other nonprofits. 90% or more of the proceeds goes to the other nonprofits. And the RAOC, we help with the systems, the script, the support. See, you're here right now because the RAOC was created to spread the word, to provide information, education, and certification, and marketing and scripting and systems and strategy and strategic calls and alliances. Now, Gene Frederick is the granddaddy of EXP, and I met him about 1.5 years ago, and we did a 15-minute interview, and we pulled this quote out. Nobody's doing it. You get to talk to high net worth people. This is the way to meet them. Cammie, as you explained to me through your program, baby boomers like me can donate in a way we didn't know how. This is a game changer. Friends, people like this, 50 years of real estate experience, leading one of the largest real estate teams ever created in the history of real estate, didn't know about it. This opens up doors for all of us. Let's talk about the specific donors, the benefits for the donors, because you're probably starting to understand, okay, I'm starting to understand how this works, but how does it benefit the donor? So we've mentioned that they avoid capital gains tax. We've mentioned that they can write off the appraised value as the basis for their tax deduction, meaning if a mortgage is being paid out of that, they're pulling cash out of that. Let's use that $600,000 example we had at the beginning. Let's say that that property, the donor said, you know what? I love Connie's nonprofit, but I don't love her that much. I'd like to get the $200,000 I paid for this thing 10 years ago back in my pocket. Well, of course they're going to pay taxes on that money. Preserve liquid assets to protect lifestyle. Here's some psychology that I've learned over the last couple of years, thanks to people like Dr. Russell James and the specialized nonprofit. When we are asking our friends to buy $50 raffle tickets or go to a golf tournament or attend a gala, we are asking them to take cash out of their pocket to help these nonprofits. And so many of our friends want to do that, but guess what? Some of them are actually having to think it through. Do I have $500 to go to that gala this weekend, or do I want to buy my kids Christmas presents? That's a real problem. The lifestyle is impacted when we are asking them to spend that little bit of 3% they got in their pocket. Now, this also can eliminate the complexity. So some people will say to us, well, yeah, but you know, that $600,000 piece of property, aren't they leaving that to their kids? Some people don't have kids. Some people don't want their kids to have anything. And some people want to eliminate a complex asset from their estate because they know that their kids or their heirs wouldn't know what to do with it. And that the kids would be better off with a life insurance policy that gives them cash than a second home in a 55 and older community. So this simplifies asset transfers to the next generation when this property has been liquidated, if they put the money in a donor advised fund, which we'll be talking about in just a few minutes, they can actually leave that to their kids in a very easy way. They experience the convenience. One of our favorite stories is of Linda. Linda is on a donor list with 300,000 other donors for the National Jewish Health Society. And she learned after 32 years of giving $25 a year to her nonprofit of choice. A couple years ago, she heard one of the team talking about this. Didn't know she could donate real estate. Guess what? $25 a year? Nobody would have thought Linda had property to donate, but she did. And the main reason she donated this second home, this cabin in the Poconos, I've talked to the fundraiser of that organization. The main reason was because it was convenient. This cabin had fallen into disrepair. It needed plumbing. It needed electricity. She had to rent a hotel after driving there for 6 hours to go visit it. Friends, it was convenient for her not to come out of pocket and have to fix any of that stuff. They can receive a partial cash payment for any reason. It is called a bargain sale. So whether they need to pay off debt, whether they want a return of that initial investment, whether they want to tailor the size of their charitable gift or purchase that life insurance for their heirs, they call it a bargain sale. It took me a year to figure this out. Look, I was as new to this when I first learned about it as you are today. So let me help you with a couple of these things. Bargain sale sounds like bargain basement. Sounds like a fire sale. No. That $600,000 property from the beginning of the presentation. If the donor says, I love Connie's nonprofit, I don't love it that much, I want to get my $200,000 cash out, the specialized nonprofit gives them $200,000 because there's $400,000 of equity, give or take commissions and other expenses. So that is called a bargain sale because in essence, the nonprofit is buying the $600,000 piece of property at a bargain of $200,000. So now they have a $600,000 piece of real estate that they bought at a bargain of $200,000, and when they liquidate that asset, it is the equity that goes to the nonprofit world. Clear as mud? Okay, you might be saying, well, I'm impressed. There are a lot of benefits here. I completely clueless about this a little bit ago, but now it's kind of starting to come together. But who are these people that would donate their property? Well, this is a couple in Arizona, as you see from the date, October 2021, 125 million in real estate donated at one time to the nonprofit world. Sit with that for just a second. When people say to me, well, I don't know anybody that would donate real estate, my response to that is, well, maybe you should fix that. Maybe you should know people like that. Maybe this would be a great way for you to meet those kinds of people. Maybe your nonprofit deserves to meet those kinds of people. Maybe as a real estate agent or a financial advisor or any other advisor, maybe it would be smart to add these kinds of folks to our center of influence. Now, to take it a little bit step further, a couple of numbers for you. 80% of people who donate real estate do it for altruistic reasons, meaning they love animals. They are a veteran. They want people to know the Lord or to not be homeless or to be saved from human trafficking. They do it because it's the right thing to do. Now, 20% of them do it because it's a great tax strategy. Granted, 100% of them get the tax benefit. So just remember that $9 billion is currently donated to nonprofits this way at an average of $550,000. So the fact is, it is happening. It's just a matter of, are you part of it? Do you want to be a part of it? Do your causes and communities deserve to get this kind of funding? And how would it help your career and your companies to be a part of it? So either way, what we want you to know is that they, the donors, want to do it. This has nothing to do with convincing people to give real estate away. This has to do with educating, letting them know what their options are, and being the broker in the middle that gets a piece of the pie to fund the nonprofit world the way it deserves to be funded. They are grateful you informed them. And guess what? Even if you're talking to someone with multiple pieces of property, multiple hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth, even if you educate them on this, and even if they don't want to donate a piece of real estate, who do you think they're going to look at as the advisor, as the strategic partner, as the person that they're going to introduce to their friends and relatives and family? They're grateful that you informed them, and they will be eager to learn more. We've got tons of videos that you can share with everyone involved. We've got something called the Charitable Real Estate 101 that we do on Wednesdays at noon. You can sit in tomorrow. You can bring, like if you're sitting here thinking, holy cow, my friend Rhonda needs to know about this. My real estate agent Bill needs to know about this. That nonprofit that I love so much and the committee that I sit on, they need to know about it. Awesome. Tomorrow at noon. Alan, could you please put in the chat, or Grace, therock.com/101. That's how you get them this information. Now, where do you find these donors? Here's what we want you to know. We're not going to get into this right now, not right this red hot minute, but we want you to know that you already know them. We're going to help you to identify and access them. Whether you're for-profit or nonprofit, I guarantee you, there are people that you know that would donate real estate. And there are people that you know that won't donate real estate, but that will introduce you to somebody that would, because they've never heard of this before. And we're going to help you with that. Okay, put that down for a second. As far as the donor goes, don't worry. We're going to get into who to talk to and what to say at the end of the class today. But right now, let's focus on how the nonprofits benefit. When we talk about that there's 30 subcategories of 501c3, here's some of them. Just take this in for a minute. This is why the Real Agents of Change was created. Because there's so many people that need to have a voice, and we can be the voice for them. Whether you're doing it because it's the right thing to do, or whether you're doing it because it's the smart thing to do and you want to attract 87% of your population, the good news is it doesn't matter. Because regardless of your intention, nonprofits are going to get funded from this period. So whether you like it or not, you're going to be helping your community. And typically, those that we attract are here because that's exactly what they want to do. And they get paid. So that's a little bonus. Now, this is Deborah LaPlante. She came into our group in January, I believe it was. The day after, maybe the night of the class, she's watching the 700 Club. For those of you who don't know, that's like a church, a religion-based channel. And she sees Pastor Corey up on the roof, the pastor on the roof. Been doing this for 10 years. Up on a roof, 0-degree weather in Chicago, taking a stand for his community, raising money. She reached out to him immediately. No script, no social media, no fancy meme. Just called them. We got on the phone with them. And the point of the matter is, and actually there's on the back of the book is a quote from Pastor Corey. The point is that this opens doors. This starts conversations that you just wouldn't be having otherwise. Okay, nonprofits. Receive the benefits and gifts of real estate, but avoid the risk and liability. I can't say that any stronger. Friends, there is zero risk. Remember back at the beginning, for those of you who popped in and out, if you didn't see this, let me tell you now, there was a warning that said you can't unlearn what you're going to learn in this presentation. And the fact is, you've just learned. Yep, your nonprofit, the committee you sit on, the church you've been going to for 20 years. All of that can benefit with no risk and no liability. And for us to know that and not share it with them is the biggest form of hypocrisy and disservice imaginable. I can't imagine knowing this and then sitting in a fundraising committee and not speaking up about it. It's one of the benefits. Embrace your donors' best interests. Allow the gifts they want to give of appreciated assets. Here's the thing. Whether you understand it or not, there are donors on the nonprofit's donor list who need the tax deduction. Their situation is such that this benefits them. That's all you need to know. Do what you do best and refer the rest. If you are a financial advisor, awesome. Partner with one of our realtors to get together and teach thousands of people how this works. Just know that they also want to leave legacy. That's in their best interest. People get to be 65, 70, 80, 90 years old. They got this extra real estate. You can't take it with you. They don't have an heir, or the heirs they have are already taken care of in other ways. And they want to be on their deathbed knowing that they did the right thing. It is in their best interest. Strengthen those relationships by tapping their wealth bucket, not their income bucket. Can you imagine what it will be like for donors, whether they hear about it from your nonprofit and you or someone else? They are going to learn about this. And if they find out that their church that they've been going to for 20 years, they've been giving cash to, because that's all they would take. If they find out that church could have been taking real estate and they could have been giving smarter from their wealth bucket instead of the cash out of their pocket, how are they going to feel? See, that's why we had the warning on there. Now that you know this, don't be that nonprofit that sits on it and doesn't share it with other people. Your donors are on other people's donor lists. They're going to hear about this and they're going to donate to the first one who shares it with them. You can grow your endowments at 6 times the rates of the nonprofits who only accept cash. We have a report. Alan, Grace, if you can put therock.com/FAQS at the bottom of those FAQs is the report that Dr. James did that proves how that works. Guys, these are some numbers that you've already seen before. It is proven, not only is it proven that donors who give real estate can give 3 to 7 times more than the ones who only give cash. Dr. James told me that the average person who donates will donate a second time when they see how easy it is and how beneficial it is. And they start giving more cash. So that woman, Linda, that I shared with you a bit ago, who was giving $25 a year for 32 years, then she donated her cabin in the Poconos, and the fundraiser from that nonprofit told me she gives $500 a year now. It's a psychological shift that happens, benefits the nonprofits. Expanding those numbers of major gifts from the donors that are already on their list. That picture that we showed of Hallie, who is the executive director of the Haven, standing there with the real estate sign. She told me one of the things that went ding, ding, ding in her head when she learned about this is, wait a minute, the donors we already have? Like, we don't have to go out and find new donors? This isn't some magical unicorn of a narwhal that we've never met that may or may not exist somewhere out in the ethers. These are people on our donor list. Yep, they sure are. Okay, I would say this is my favorite topic, but they're all my favorite topics. It is such a win-win-win for everyone. I can't pick. However, as a realtor myself, as someone who's been out beating the bushes since I was 8 years old as an entrepreneur, looking to make money out in the world, looking to stand out and be different, I love that these are the benefits, not just for our advisors, but for any businesses that get involved with us. So real estate brokers, look, every one of you is a real estate agent. The majority of you are a realtor, but there are 2 million at any given time. What can you do to elevate yourself to an advisor, to someone who helps people give smarter? As a matter of fact, when you get the book, Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, you'll see a page in there where we give you some examples of what to say when people ask you what you do so that you can stand out. You can switch your focus to a seller that is not emotionally attached. Here's what we mean. If you're a real estate agent, you have experienced this, and if you haven't, you just haven't done enough business. That client, elderly man or woman, has 4 kids. Every one of them's got their finger in the pie. They all want to tell you how to do your job. They are fighting amongst each other. You get an email from this one telling you what to do, a text from that one. Everybody's emotional. They're all hung up on idiosyncrasies of the photos and all that stuff. How about if you just never had to deal with that stuff again? See, when that emotional seller donates the real estate to the specialized nonprofit, it is the specialized nonprofit that becomes the seller who hires you at a full commission. That's why we can guarantee that you get a full commission, because in essence, they are the ones that are hiring you. Non-emotional, business savvy, 40 years each of real estate experience. Just do your job and you'll get paid for it. Full commission on the listings. Please do not get hung up on that's the only way to make money from this. I mentioned a little bit ago, what about all the multi-property owners and all the CPAs and all the financial advisors and all the wealthy people and generous, heart-centered people that you'll meet because of this conversation that will want to introduce you around? Oh my God, I've been introduced to 500 people from one real estate agent here in Sarasota. Jessica Peterson is introducing us to every financial advisor, CPA, nonprofit, heart-centered business owner, realtor, broker, because of this conversation. It's so interesting. So don't get too hung up on just that one commission. This opens the floodgates to add people to your center of influence in a massive way. Let's talk about the financial advisors. Moving a hard asset to assets under management, AUM. Financial advisors, they get compensated in many different ways. One of the ways is when they have assets that they manage. One asset they cannot manage is real estate. When we help them see how we can help to liquidate that hard asset of real estate and put $1 million into a donor advised fund that they can manage and get paid to manage, friends, business development, making money, making a difference. Preserve the next generation of clients. So that $600,000 property that we talked about, the people who own it, John and Mary, are elderly. And what if they took that money that they got from that hard asset and they put that money into a donor advised fund, which we're going to talk about next. And that donor advised fund that now grows interest and has been a tax write-off can be left to John and Mary's kids, that they can then, when the financial advisor who has that money under management, now those kids already have a built-in wealth manager who are more than likely to keep that person as the wealth manager because all the hard work's been done for them. That's how it preserves the next generation. Now, for all of them, all of us, all of the business community, we can all be certified charitable real estate specialists. It's another designation. People love to get their designations. CCRES helps you to become proactive, helps you to market right on your website, right in your emails, right in your social media, right in your conversations when you go to networking events. You're becoming proactive, right? Key number 2, lead generate. Strengthen relationships with existing clients. Oh boy, are people fickle and move around? If you think that just because they bought their house from you 2 years ago, or just because you've got some money under management with them over there, etc., that they're just going to stay with you forever, be crazy, because they're always looking. They're always shopping commissions, etc. But when you have the only designation in your marketplace, now don't get me wrong, by 2025, the goal is to have charitable real estate divisions, charitable real estate specialists, charitable real estate champions in every state and every marketplace. But right now, you are the only one in your marketplace. Get that first mover's advantage before there are 5, 10, 20, 100 more in your market. Gaining access to new clients. Look, everybody knows a realtor. Everybody knows 10 financial advisors. Everybody knows a dozen nonprofits. But when you are doing something that the others in your marketplace and industry are not doing, now there's a reason to gain access. That country club, that gated community, that senior care living facility that has had their own realtors for the last 50 years, here's what I'll promise you, they don't know about this. When you come in and educate those people, you've just gained access to new clients. Leverage marketing with charitable success stories. So therock.com/donations, my YouTube channel, Charitable Real Estate Success Stories. You can share those stories until you have your own stories to show people how it works, why it works, how you can help it work for them, no matter what the situation is, and just basically expand your center of influence. Now, I'm going to get in the weeds for just a minute around donor advised fund, because and look, I like to be vulnerable and real and tell you my struggles with this so that I can help you shorten your learning curve from the 18 months that it took for me. Let's shorten it down to this 3-hour period for you. Financial advisors initiate 65% of all major gifts. And their favorite nonprofit is the donor advised fund. Now, don't worry, other nonprofits, because when financial advisors work with us to liquidate that hard asset of real estate and put it in a donor advised fund, it is a fund that the donor can advise how they see fit. So people like Connie who are on here, when you make buddies, with financial advisors who have clients with donor advised funds, you've just opened up a door. Key, remember the keys? We've got all these keys going on. This is the key to lead generation. This is the key to listing and liquidating donations of real estate, etc. These donor advised funds are full of hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars, billions of dollars, 13 billion to be exact, with Fidelity Charitables just as one of them. And all of that money, the only way it can be leveraged or accessed is to donate it to other nonprofits. So, fastest growing public charity, charitable investment fund, regulated as a public charity, funded by a donor one time or periodically, which means in this case, now they could fund it with stocks or crypto or a racehorse or big gold bullion. We're talking about real estate right now. So let's say that this donor liquidates that $600,000 property. They need a tax deduction right now, but they don't really know who they want to give the money to just yet. So they put it in a donor advised fund one time, or now that they've set up that donor advised fund periodically. As I mentioned earlier, when they see how easy this is, the majority of the time, a second property is donated even in the first year. Now, these are administered by a qualified sponsor. I'll tell you exactly who they are in a minute. Spoiler alert, I already told you about Fidelity Charitables, largest nonprofit in this country. As directed by the donor, they grant the money to other nonprofits. So as I mentioned, now that the donor has liquidated this real estate and they put it in a donor advised fund that is growing, they grant it out to whoever they want. They might give 5,000 here, 10,000 there. They might say, you know what, Connie, we love you, but it's a new nonprofit. We're going to give you 10,000 a year for the next 5 years instead of 50,000 at one time. Just want to see how you manage it. See that they can direct how it is advised out. It is an alternative to a private foundation, which is much more complicated and engaging. It entitles the donor to a tax deduction. The fund grows tax-free and grants are made tax-free. The donor can make periodic contributions, which is the same thing as one time or adding to it over time. They make periodic grants. They don't have to give it all at one time to anyone. And they can leave this to their children. Could have millions of dollars in it. And now the children have a way to be philanthropic for the rest of their lives and maybe into the next generation. Any size, any time. Donor advised fund, the advantages to a financial advisor specifically. Now, some of these we've already talked about. The financial advisory community is so competitive. And you may have a big book of business as a donor, as a financial advisor, and maybe all of your clientele are older or getting older. And maybe you're afraid that when they pass away, that you're going to lose all of that money, all of that clientele. This is a way to help secure a relationship with the next generation. They are often allowed to earn fees for managing the donor advised fund. They can't make no money from trying to manage real estate. That's not what a financial advisor does. But when that hard asset's liquidated and put in a DAF, they can earn money from that now. Contributing real estate to a donor advised fund converts that hard asset on which they can earn fees. So here are some of the most popular in the country. Fidelity Charitables happens to be the largest, and they leverage the same team that we do. Schwab, National Philanthropic, American Endowment Foundation is another one whom I did a interview with. It's in my YouTube channel. It's about an hour long. I interviewed the woman who manages 3.7 billion, I believe, with them. Friends, even they don't want to do their own real estate. That's why I interviewed her about this topic. They don't want to do it. So once again, most of them won't accept real estate. That is why they need a specialized nonprofit too. Now, why do nonprofits and realtors and financial advisors and visionary leaders become champions with us? Because we have the only system and support and strategy to help find the real estate donations. Remember, this is about being proactive, not reactive. If we stop at key number 1, learn. You take this master class, you love the information, you become a specialist only, you're certified and you're on our map, and you get some extra classes every month with Realty Gift Fund, specialized nonprofit, but you don't have the extra strategy and support to actually go find the donations. We are the ones that help to handle the real estate donations. This whole thing, partnering, positioning, promoting, we've got this system called the 7 Ps, from purpose to payoff. And right in the middle of it is teaching you how to position, partner, and promote dozens, hundreds of for-profits, nonprofits, locally, regionally, nationally, whatever works for you. You just got to take action, but we can't take action if we don't know what to do. So it's our action steps. We have the only national database, as we talked about a little bit ago. Now, look at the date. This is on the market right this red hot minute, 7.5 million. And look, I love these photos. This says, without me saying it, but I'm going to say it anyway, we are not looking for contaminated real estate that people can't get rid of, some landlocked piece of 1,000 acres in the middle of Texas with no road to it that they can't give away. We're not looking for depressed or distressed property. Hey, sometimes that kind of property is donated. But when people say, well, how about probate? Well, let's turn our attention in a different direction. How about all of the abundance and the wealth and the beautiful human beings that we would like to surround ourselves with who happen to have real estate like this? Friends, this is a gift of real estate. This is what you get paid a full commission on. This is what your nonprofit can get funded with. This is our national database, and it's growing every day. We just added a new state today. Vermont is now on the board. So little by little, if you see your state, awesome. If you don't see your state, that's even better, because you'll be the first one, and you can always market yourself as the first charitable real estate specialist or champion in your community. So, end of section 2. I am going to look over in the chat. Please unmute yourself and feel free to jump on in with any questions while I look and see what I can answer over here.
Congratulations. Woo! For Vermont. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's not to like?
Right? I hear that. I'm just going to go back up to the top here and see. Feel free to ask any questions, guys. I'm just reading through. So Jackie wants to help nonprofits for foster kids. Guys, almost every week I talk to someone who's starting a new nonprofit to help foster kids. I was adopted. Thank you for your service. And it's very competitive. They need help. Let's get them funded. Cammie, can you make your slide bigger? No, I can't. I'm sorry. Beverly, that's as big as it gets.
My fault. I fixed it on my end.
Okay. See, Connie knows the language now. She says, my nonprofit will be able to provide 16,667 Go kits for elementary school kids. Connie, would you like to hop on and just give them the 30 seconds of what your nonprofit is?
Yes, thank you. And thank you, Tammy. Thank you so much. Yes, my nonprofit is designed to help get our country better prepared for disasters. And that includes getting Go Kits in the hands of children, because if we get the Go Kits in the hands of children, then they are going to also have their parents be more informed. And my goal is to help 30 million people be better prepared for disasters and other types of crisis.
Fabulous. Thank you for being here. I think this is Connie's third time. Anything, repetition helps to remind us. Beverly, we haven't seen you in a few months. I'm so glad to see you here again.
Yes, glad to be here. Great new info too as well.
Good. Glad you're enjoying it. Vince, lots of nuggets to chat, to save it as a text and click on. Okay. Vince says, if you engineer a real estate donation to the nonprofit that subsequently liquidates it for donation, does the donor pay you a fee for services, or does the nonprofit agree to pay you the commission to liquidate? Vince, can you unmute yourself and just be clear as about who you mean by who you is? I'll answer it as best I can without the conversation though. So, specialized nonprofit. If you are a real estate agent and you introduce them to the nonprofit and or the donor, and the property is in your marketplace, you're getting the listing. Period. End of story. If the listing is in a different marketplace, then you'll get a referral fee for that. And so I don't know if that handles everything. The only service agreement, the only real contract is between the specialized nonprofit and the donor. So the donor comes and goes to, Alan, can you put in the RAOC.com/property valuation? Guys, notice with all these links, we got plenty of support. You just got to stay in the conversation for a little bit. So the property valuation form takes 3 minutes to fill out. Donor then is introduced to specialized nonprofit, who are fabulous. You'll love them. And they are given 2 net sheets. One, if they did a traditional sale and paid the capital gains tax and whatever, based on their own personal tax bracket, etc. And a second net sheet that shows, okay, well, what if they donated the full thing outright? Or what if the specialized nonprofit gave them $500,000? In other words, what their specific dealio is. The donor gets to then make an educated business decision. They are not convinced or sold on this. We got to take our salesperson hat off and come to this with our heart of sharing with people what their options are. And when they make a decision, yes, I do want to do this, I do want to make a donation of real estate, then they sign a contract with the specialized nonprofit that has an addendum. When this property sells, we want 80% to go to the Boys and Girls Club, 10% to go to the veterans, and 10% to go to whatever. In other words, it is written out in an agreement where the proceeds are going to go in the very beginning. Now, the donor got their money. They got their mortgage paid off if that's needed, what have you. They got their tax deduction. Now the specialized nonprofit has title, and it's like hot potato. Got a hot one. Now we got to pass it on over to the realtor at a full commission. When the property sells, just like any other property, only this time, if you're smart, you'll strategize with us and show the world, hey, 123 Main Street, Chicago. When it sells, our church is getting $800,000. Remember the first story? That nonprofit knew they were getting some money, didn't know what state, didn't have the address, and didn't care, but they started telling their donors. So once it's sold and the money is recouped by the specialized nonprofit for any expenses, then 90 to 98% of the proceeds goes to the nonprofits. Specialized nonprofit keeps on average 5.9% of the proceeds to keep their own doors open. It's exactly how it works. I'm just going to see if there's any other questions. Feel free to jump in. Oh, Vince says he doesn't have a mic. Okay, well, I hope that helped, and I'm happy to have a conversation with you. Okay, Connie, thanks for being here. Okay, what we're going to do now is I'm going to share the second success story. I think this one's about 7 minutes. And feel free to go to the bathroom and just put it up nice and loud so you can hear it. And if you have any questions, we'll handle them when we get back. See you in a minute.
Thank you, Trish, Coach, Kathy, Coach with Nina, Gonzalo. Thank you all for coming. This is so cool. I appreciate all of you for taking the time to learn about charitable gifts of real estate to nonprofits.
Welcome to the Real Agents of Change podcast. We love to celebrate and support our nonprofits, those they serve and those who serve them. And the nonprofit of all nonprofits is Realty Gift Fund. What
Tracy,
is the donation of real estate?
I have it on my
today,
YouTube.
Bruce?
We're going to talk a little bit about a commercial.
I have it on YouTube, and I have it on
that is underway. And
go to my YouTube. Living in Santa Clarita, California is my YouTube channel. I also put it on my LinkedIn as well.
To a donor-advised fund.
And I'm recording here
an interesting
what I
story,
can.
And it will help explain to your listening audience what kind of deals are possible from a complex set of ownership facts down to a simple donation. And this one has to do with a gentleman who is a dentist and owns a dentist practice across 6 different buildings in the Alabama region. And he is of an age where he is starting to deal with estate issues. He's not retiring, but he's getting his pieces in place. He owns this dental practice. He owns all 6 buildings. He is going to do what many people in that position do at a certain point in time, is sell the portfolio of 6 buildings, perhaps to 1 buyer, perhaps to 6 buyers, and do a sale leaseback where he retains possession of the property to operate his business out of until the day that he's ready to sell the practice to somebody else, which is way down the road. So he has his lease terms all figured out, and he's trying to attract a series of buyers or a buyer to buy these buildings or the portfolio under the terms that he is proposing for a leaseback over a period of time. The term is going to be 12 years. The lease rate is going to be market rate. It's going to be an absolute net lease, which is what investors are looking for, meaning that the tenant pays for all of the expenses of operating the building as well as operating the practice. This is very typical in the investment market that we have grown up in. He would like to make a charitable gift of a partial interest in one of the buildings. And this is what we are negotiating right now, because the entire portfolio is owned in an LLC. And he has to separate these buildings into their own pieces so that they can position themselves to be sold separately. And this one building that he has in mind that we're looking at to be donated separately so that he can retain approximately an 80% interest in the building, but donate a 20% interest in the building prior to its going under contract to sell. And he has a listing agent in mind. He has no buyer in the horizon. He's doing this exactly right. He's putting the donation in its proper place, which is before the property gets listed and before the property goes under contract. And when it does go under contract, if everything comes together according to our negotiations, Realty Gift Fund will be a 20% owner of the building, and his dental practice will be an 80% owner of the building. And when it goes under contract and then sells, he will pay taxes, capital gain taxes, on the 80% portion that he has retained, but the 20% portion will pass free of taxes, save all that money to flow through Realty Gift Fund's process to his donor advised fund. And it's a very clever move on his part.
Now, this is very different because typically the whole point of donating real estate to a nonprofit is that you donate it to the nonprofit and then the nonprofit sells the property. So how is this one being facilitated where it's being donated or it's being listed first? Because you said he's doing it in the right process.
Right. The donation actually will occur. We will go under contract for the donation. And then the property will be listed. And we will be named as a 20% owner and he will be named as an 80% owner. And then the property will go under contract and we will be named as a 20% seller and he will be named as an 80% seller.
Got it.
Everything perfect.
So it's still the same basic process. It's just a percentage of the ownership as opposed to the whole thing.
Right, and we often will do bargain sales for our donors who want to have the benefit of selling a percentage of their property and donating the remaining percentage. But they will donate the entire property to us and we will simply write them a check for the percentage that they have wished to retain. In this particular case, we are going to play the role of partner with our donor, 20%, 80%.
Now, I'm curious, where did this donor come from? You mentioned that the money is going into a donor advised fund. Was it the donor advised fund that put you in contact?
Yes, yes. It's the commercially operated. You know, they're the largest nonprofits in America are, for the most part, commercial sponsors of donor advised funds. So Fidelity, Schwab, Vanguard, American Endowment Foundation, National Philanthropic Association. Those are the big ones. And they have an army of people around the country gathering business for them. You know, Fidelity did $17.5 billion of donations last year. They have quite an effective army. And that's how our donors find us sometimes, is through that army.
Well, for those of you who are analytical and always looking for something creative and interesting, there you have it. You can always reach out to Realty Gift Fund. Isn't that interesting? It's a little complicated and convoluted and in the weeds, but what I want you to take away from that one is this is why nonprofits say no to real estate. They are scared to death that it's going to be something like this that they could never wrap their head around. And even if it is a nonprofit that takes real estate, if it's local, mortgage free, and easy, they need to know that if it's something more complicated or in another state or that has a big mortgage, we can help them with that which they cannot handle on their own. Questions about any of this? Claudia Antel, it's good to see you as well. Salvador, Sal, God, I haven't talked to you in 8 years. Nice to see people popping on. Sherry and Jackie, we met recently in the Clearwater area. By the way, we're back in Clearwater right this red hot minute, and we're looking to do some events. So you ladies that met us a couple weeks back at some of these title company gatherings, reach out to me or Alan, and we'll talk to you about what we're doing here in this area. Hey Sal, you're muted. You want to unmute? You're in Florida now, right?
Hey Cammy, yeah, I'm in Florida now. So back to Florida, I say. So yeah, lots of things been happening, changing, back to the grind, and big things. So it's cool.
Now, are you showing up as a real estate agent, a real estate investor? What's your thing?
Yes. So, yeah, I mean, as real estate agent, primarily investor on the side.
How do you typically build your business, Sal? Who do you on your daily grind of prospecting? What are you trying to find?
I mean, I do internet leads and get before, etc. Ideal is I'd rather switch from buyers to sellers.
So more as a real estate agent than a investor?
For now. That's my day-to-day for now, yeah.
Just wondering, because when I know who you want to do business with and what you're passionate about, that I can come up with all kinds of social responsibility campaigns that help you make money, making a difference. So, whether you're wanting to be an investor and therefore build relationships with lots of realtors versus shifting your focus as a realtor from buyers to sellers, this is just a conversation that people are not having. So some realtors want to get in front of lots of financial advisors, CPAs, and attorneys, but so many realtors are trying to reach out to those folks. It's the same old, same old. But when you can talk to them about charitable real estate, it just helps you to level up and be someone that they want to have a conversation with. So you can build that relationship with them. So
exactly, and that's why, like I said, I'll get back into investing, but that's because again, that's an appeal for people. I see your posts on Facebook that you say there's people, because again, down here in Florida, I'm in Fort Lauderdale, Pompano, etc. And so of course, as people age and all that stuff, we have so I've been following you doing some of that. That's why I was like, yeah,
good.
Side out.
We've got a guy in the Villages that we're going to be doing a presentation with shortly. We'll do a gathering first of CPAs, attorneys, mortgage companies, title companies, just all the businesses that would benefit from something like this, including the nonprofits that want to get in front of seniors. So Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, Friends of Hospice, etc. Put all those people together first and teach them about charitable gifting of real estate, that it's even possible. And then in December, January, when all of the people come back to the Villages from being up north, when they are repopulated again, we'll have a gathering where those business people who now understand what we're doing can be in the room with all the owners of the property, so that we can all come together and learn how this all works, so that the mortgage and title company can get together with 100 realtors, which helps them. And so that all the donors that come in can learn about the realtors and the CPA that understands this. In other words, we're creating a campaign of social responsibility that helps everyone involved. Just dropping that little pebble into everybody's pond. Any other questions? So I'm just going to do the next section. I guess I'm just. Thank you. I guess I'm just doing a fabulous job. I'll just keep going. Let me get back to sharing the screen. And now we're going to get into some details, some documents. Let me get rid of this and find out how they come over here. You got to be able to dance and juggle at the same time when it comes time to do a PowerPoint. All right, section 3. Let's get into what qualifies. You might be wondering, you might be thinking about properties that you actually know about, or properties that have been on the market for a long time, or what have you. So let's get really clear about what qualifies and any special documentation that you need to know about. So the overall answer to what qualifies is simply this: it cannot be a timeshare. It needs to have equity, and it needs to be marketable. Meaning, back to the conversation earlier about if it's not if it's contaminated and you can't fix it, if it's landlocked and nobody wants it. In other words, there are some properties that may not be marketable right now because the current owner won't build a road to it or won't put that new roof on it or what have you. It might be that there's something that the specialized nonprofit can do to it to make it marketable. But overall, it needs to be something that can sell. So examples, guys, anything residential. Yes, people do donate their primary homes. They donate second homes. That is a huge part of this marketplace, whether it's a second, third, fourth, fifth home. They donate investment properties. There's a story of a guy up in Boston area. He had a 4-family that he paid like, I don't know, 100 grand. I don't know what this is that's coming up. Do you guys see that squiggly on the screen? There's the whiteboard application is coming up, and I don't know why. Alan, do you see that on the screen?
Yes, it's on the screen, Cammie.
Yeah,
so
whatever. There's some squiggle marks on it. I don't know what that's from.
I'm sorry, guys. I've never seen this before, and frankly, I don't know what to do with it. Grace, if you are sitting in and can tell me what to do with this, that would be
Is it
great.
affecting your ability to go forward with the slides?
It's not. I just want to get rid of it so it's not, so that it doesn't keep happening, because this is the second time. But I'll just keep going, guys. Apologies. Things change with Zoom, and I have no idea. Well, let's look into fixing that, though, Grace and Alan, if you can help me. Okay, commercial. Any kind of commercial, multifamily, office buildings. There's story after story about, office buildings where this one guy donated his office building a couple of years back, and at the end of the day, there was about $800,000 in proceeds, and he didn't even care what nonprofit got it. For him, it was such a big windfall for his company, for his estate planning, that he told the specialized nonprofit to just divvy out the money as they saw fit, and they did. Strip malls, dear Lord, think about all the vacant strip malls. Now, this isn't about a strip mall that is so overburdened with debt and in such bad disrepair that nobody could ever use it, but it is about one of these strip malls that might be getting ready to be foreclosed on, and it could actually be shifted into like government housing or apartments or something. In other words, it could become marketable with a little bit of creativity. Storage facilities, restaurants, as long as it has equity and as long as it's marketable. Hospitality, land. One of the stories under the rock.com/donations is about land that is commercial, several $1 million in value. Raw, farms, ranches, no timeshares. That's really the only absolutely no thank you. What qualifies the property? Length of ownership needs to be at least a year or more when you look at the perspective of tax implication. In other words, if the person is donating it just because it's the right thing to do and they've only owned it for 6 months and it's not going to help them with taxes, well, that's up to them. But in order to get the tax benefits, at least a year of ownership. Marketability, we talk about a lot. Will the property sell? Will it sell?
Here, looks like somebody hacked. Looks like somebody hacked their thing. So let me. I'm going to see if maybe I go out and come back in. Maybe that'll work. Mm-hmm.
Took 6 months. They took $90,000 of cash of their own capital to convert 3 commercial lots into 7 residential lots, bringing the value up to $700,000. So it became more marketable in a different way. Just examples of why you want to have a third-party expert that's doing this. The underlying tax circumstances are part of what qualifies, meaning the very first question on the property evaluation form is, what is your intention? Why are you considering donating? Because even though 20% of the people who donate do it just for the tax benefit, usually the best donations are people who have a philanthropic intention and they're doing it for all the right reasons. So we, as the real agents of change, don't get into their dirty laundry or business. But when we put them in touch with the specialized nonprofit, for them to know what the underlying tax circumstances are is going to be a big part of, is this property marketable? Minimum equity of $250,000. We do have a couple of other nonprofits, specialized nonprofits, who do not require that amount of equity. But keep in mind that the average is $550,000. And the first story you heard, the first property was giving $406,000 to the nonprofit. The second property is giving $600,000. Just so happens you put those together, it's an average of $550,000. But there is a minimum when the specialized nonprofits are getting involved. It really depends on lots of different moving parts. Like, is there a mortgage to be paid off? Is this going to require a lot of capital? Does it look like it's going to take more months than a regular property would? But in essence, the minimum equity is $250,000. Average equity, $540,000, $550,000. Actually, last year, we need to update the slide. Last year it was $557,000. Maximum size is unlimited. So I haven't seen any that were, in the hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, but I have been told many times that the maximum size is unlimited. Now, what are the required documents? I'm so sorry about this image. If I could get rid of it, I would. I'm really sorry. That's embarrassing, but I can't help it. Okay, so here are the documents. When the donor first comes to the table, they are given 2 net gift estimates, meaning here's what it would look like if it was a traditional sale. Here's what it would look like if you do it based on the facts that you're giving us right now about how much the mortgage is, how much equity, et cetera, et cetera. And when they decide to make the donation, the net gift estimate is the guiding document from beginning to the end that has the donor's property in contract with the specialized nonprofit, which is what guarantees you, the nonprofit, the realtor, everyone involved, that the nonprofits are going to get the money that the donor wants them to get. Donation agreement. So the donation agreement is simply, here's the deed, here's the keys, signing an agreement of donating the real estate. It could be a bargain sale. So it's either a donation agreement or a bargain sale agreement, and here's the difference. If the property is donated completely 100%, that's a donation. If even $1 needs to exchange hands, it is a bargain sale, because at that point, the property is being purchased at a bargain, even if it's $1. So those are the 2 different agreements. Donation disclosure agreement is just like any other real estate disclosure that would be needed in real estate. Okay, IRS Form 8283 is the form that goes to the IRS that gives the donor their tax deduction. It is signed by 3 parties. It is signed by the appraiser, by the donor, and by the specialized nonprofit, because it is the specialized nonprofit that is taking title, taking financial responsibility, liquidating the property, and granting the money to any other of the 1.5 million nonprofits. So in essence, your church, your veterans group, your animal shelter, They are not submitting any forms to the IRS about this. They are getting a grant, but it is not a grant that they had to fill out paperwork for and apply for. It is a grant because the donor designated them as the recipient in the beginning on the donation agreement. Now, the other form, the 8282, which you would think would be the first form because it comes before 8283. But anyway, this one is when the property is sold. It is signed only by the specialized nonprofit. So, for example, $600,000 property we've been talking about since the beginning. At the beginning, the 8283 is submitted. It appraised at $600,000. The appraiser signs it. The donor signs, yep, that's what I'm claiming as a deduction. And the nonprofit signs off, yes, that is the gift that we received. Now, let's say the property sells for $550,000 or $600,000 or $650,000, whatever it sells for. The specialized nonprofit sends that to the IRS as a checks and balance kind of thing. So the donor got their deduction based on the appraised value. Now, if that property had sold for, say, $300,000, well, that would throw up a red flag because that's 50% of the appraised value. There might be something funny or screwy going on there. And that's why the IRS wants this checks or balances going on. Keep in mind that the specialized nonprofits have been doing this for many years. They're not going to take a property that appraises at $600,000 unless it's clear from doing their own research and talking to local brokers that it is, in essence, a $600,000 property. You know, give or take any market conditions that happen, they'll be able to know that it's a property that's going to sell within that 10% range. Another document is the listing agreement and purchase and sales agreements. Friends, this is a listing just like anyone you've ever had before. There is nothing different about it at all. It's kind of like an REO property or a relocation property from the perspective that the original owner, John and Mary, aren't the ones signing the listing agreement. They don't own it anymore. They donated it to the specialized nonprofit, which is what gave them the tax advantage that they were looking for. And now specialized nonprofit is your client and is signing the listing agreement. I'm going to stop sharing and come back in. I think that will clean that up. Okay, preliminary property evaluation. This is the basic property evaluation we put on the screen earlier. The RAOC.com/property evaluation. So in other words, there's an online version of this. But what we want you to know is it shows the owner's unique goals, information about the property. You know, how much do you owe on it? What do you think it's worth? Things like that. Just like anything, any kind of real estate that would need to be evaluated. And that is the end of section 3. Now, that was the meat and potatoes. That was the key number 1. Learn what is charitable real estate. You got pretty much the knowledge about what this is. If there's something that hasn't been answered, now would be the time to ask it, because when we come back from the next story that we share, we're going to be talking about the difference between specialist versus champion, and Alan's going to walk you through that. That starts to get into key number 2 of lead generate. So what kind of questions do you guys have? And Alan, please let me know via text if you need this presentation shared with you so that you can pull it up, or if you're good.
Yami? Yes. You may want to log out from your Zoom and then redo it with a different password, because maybe that's what is going on. And just send like to all the people that are in our class that you can see on the list. that you know.
Okay.
Because I think, I don't know if it came, there's hackers everywhere. I don't know if it maybe came from the clubhouse, which probably is my guess. Because there's people that are trollers and hackers that go through there and they visit rooms and then, they like to screw things up. But you might want to add that.
Sure. Okay. We'll take that under advisement. Thank you, Sam. Guys, you got any questions? We're going to share the last case study, which will be about 7.5 minutes.
Great presentation.
Thank you, Sam. We appreciate you always supporting. Okay, well, I'm going to play the last story. Alan, let me know if you need that presentation, please. Welcome to the Real Agents of Change podcast series, where we love to talk about our nonprofit friends and how they are getting funded by donations of real estate that average $550,000 for one piece of real estate. Our favorite specialized nonprofit, Realty Gift Fund. Bruce, what is our story today?
I'm going to talk to you, Cammie, about a deal that I was introduced to just a few hours ago. So we're not under contract yet, but this is such a wonderful situation that I wanted to share it with you because there will be a lot of people around the country who are in the same boat as our donor is in this one. Her name is Mrs. Baum, and she, I think is in her 80s. She lives on a farm in New York, and it has 2 houses on it, 40 acres. She, I believe, lives in one, and she has leased the other one to a friend for an indefinite period of time, intending for this friend to be able to pay rent and live there until the friend passes away. And she would like to make a donation of the farmhouse that the friend is leasing. And we think that both of the homes are on a single piece of land. And so in order to donate one of them from the other one, Realty Gift Fund is going to have to step in and do a lot split with the local jurisdiction, the county or the township or wherever she lives, in order to create a separate deed, legal description for each house. And we do this, we have done this our entire career. We did a donation last year where we took a 3.5 acre commercial or 5.5 acre commercial property, and we subdivided it into 7 residential lots and sold off the residential lots and created a much bigger value for the donor than the property he came to us with initially. And so we know how to do this, but we're going to have to do that with this one. We have described this to Ms. Baum, and she said, well, once we get the first one done, we might then do the second one where I'm living, and we will do the same process. And so we are imagining right now, Jay is in the other room making phone calls, and we are imagining all the steps we're going to have to take to get done what she is trying to get done. Remember, Cammie, Realty Gift Fund is really good at what it does. We are hardcore real estate people who have been in this business for 40 years each, and we've operated across the country, but these donations are always about our donors. Who are they? What are their circumstances? What are they trying to accomplish? And how do we keep them safe from the present time to the target time so that they get accomplished what they want and we haven't put them in any sort of financial jeopardy, that they've lost their house or we're trying to take care of what our donors need, even if they don't right now know that they need that. So we're in the process of determining all this. I just thought it was kind of an interesting deal because we've got two elderly women who know where they want to live the rest of their days out, but owned by a woman who knows where she wants the proceeds of the value of this estate to go to.
So I'm curious, how did she find you and what nonprofit is she wanting the money to go to?
Interesting that you should ask. We were introduced after courting the Salvation Army for 3 or 4 years, and that they do their own real estate deals pretty effectively. We found out that the Salvation Army actually has several regions across America, and some regions are really good at doing real estate deals, and this one particular region isn't. And we are in discussion with a different deal with the Salvation Army, and the woman who runs that region for the Salvation Army has appreciated our help so much that when Ms. Baum came to her and said, "I'd like to donate my home to you," she said, "Super, let me get my real estate team on the phone." And she referred her to Realty Gift Fund.
Wow, that is interesting because as you've taught us over the years, there's a very small handful of nonprofits that actually do their own real estate transactions, Salvation Army being one of them, but even they need to pull in the big dogs every now and then. Do you know what it is about this one that makes it that much different than the 2,000 or so deals they do a year?
Cammie, what's interesting is we have directly called some of these nonprofits who do their own real estate. And not surprisingly, we have found out that they do this level of real estate and they won't do this level of real estate, which is what we're awfully good at. I mean, we're good at the whole various levels of real estate, the easy ones and the ones requiring more money and more imagination. So even the ones who do it sometimes need help because their board policies say you will not cross over into this area of real estate donations. But then there are some, like the Salvation Army, who we're getting to know, okay? And I'm imagining this to be the case, that it isn't equal all the way across the board as to how each region is able to deal with their real estate. Some regions are really good at it. They've had somebody there for a long time. They've got their relationships figured out. They know what they do well and they just keep doing that well. And then for whatever reason, perhaps it's a person who retired and a new person came in his place and is just not as familiar and is seeking help. And for whatever of these various reasons that may apply, Realty Gift Fund is there with our 40 years of experience to step in and help with the things that they don't feel as comfortable with.
Well, I've definitely run into several stories now of nonprofits who say they do their own deals,
right?
But sometimes need the help of someone with more experience. Well, thank you, Bruce, for another story. Friends, gifts of real estate are happening all over this country to the
Kim, you there?
Yes. Okay. You're up.
there was another bit for you there. Sorry about that. My fault, folks. All right, guys, listen, I just want to real quickly, I'm going to share the screen. I just want to go over a summary of basically what the difference between a specialist and a champion looks like. So let me just share this. All right. So this is, you go to therock.com/store. This is the landing page you'll come to. And it talks about our products, the charitable real estate products that we have. The basic product, everyone here should be getting at least the specialist package. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. You're first of all going to have access to. Let's see. I'll go to this simply. I'm going to skip through a lot of this stuff. Go right to the meat and potatoes here. All right, you're going to get your certification, designation, and licensing. You get the certified charitable real estate specialist designation that you can put on, your card or your website, any of your branding, your marketing. You'll get a printable certificate as well from the Real Agents of Change, and the use of our trademarks and logos so that you can put those on your personalized marketing. Now, the one I talked about during the presentation was with our office hours with Bruce, which are the 3 hours with our team specialized nonprofit. That's the Real Agents of Change. And it's the first, second, and third Wednesday of the month at 1 p.m. Eastern time. And I cannot stress this enough. This is a huge value right here to get one-on-one access with Bruce, questions, concerns, any of the experiences that you're having in your communications, whether it be with nonprofits, with donors, and just trying to get a handle on how to speak to charitable gifting and real estate, which it can be a big mountain of information. Once you really start digesting this and you start thinking about how many different ways you can apply this, you're going to realize this is a huge value. Where it says get promoted, this is the interactive map that we have that highlights all the certified charitable real estate specialists, the nonprofits, the financial professionals that are involved that have gotten certified, and even donors who are all going to be on this interactive website. So if you hover over any specific area, it'll pull up all the local, the RAOC affiliates, or the people that are either specialists or champions in those areas. And even when people are searched on Google, so if someone were to search charitable gifting of real estate in Florida, then it's an opportunity for that person to come up in a Google search. We've already had people talk about them being found on Google searches just from this one page. And then the affiliate status, another one that doesn't get enough recognition here. So obviously, we're happy that you came in. We're excited for you to share this with as many people as you can, and we want to help train you and get you up to speed so that you can talk to this. One of the bonuses to bringing people to the master class and have them also either get specialist status or champion is that you'll get a 10% referral fee as a specialist, as an affiliate status. So it's just another way of incentivizing you to share this information, and you'll get a financial reward for doing so. And that's basically specialist in a nutshell. Everyone here is probably self-starters and willing and ready to take action on it right now. And of course, we're here to support you and get you where you need to be. What you get as a champion, though, that's what I want to talk about the most, because this is really where thousands of hours of Cammie and Danielle, Grace, myself have been putting into documents, videos, interviews, marketing material. I want to share some of that in a moment, but there's been so much time and so much energy put into this to bring, shorten your learning curve, to take all the work that we've done and put it in a package so you can just take it and hit the road. Like, you guys can start just, applying so much of what the work we've done to what you want to accomplish with the nonprofits you want to work with, whether you're a nonprofit and want to just open up the pipeline for receiving gifts of real estate. Legacy Launchpad, which is a huge compilation of information that Cammy's put together. 5 keys to leverage real estate for real change, and 7 P's from purpose to payoff. I feel like that needs to be highlighted. When Cammy first went through the 7 P's with me, one by one, and just broke my whole, like, it just broke me down as a human being, and sort of exposed what my real motivations were. This is such a powerful way to really get focused on your purpose. The roadmap, of course, comes with everything that you get as a specialist. You also get as a champion. Who to talk to, what to say, how to say it, all kinds of scripts, so that when you reach out to these people, whether it's nonprofits or donors or other real estate agents, this gives you exactly what to say. It's just a lot of shortening the learning curve. The marketing, this is huge. We're constantly growing this, so you're always going to be getting more and more information out of this. But even where it stands right now, if you added nothing to it, this is a treasure trove of library of information. You get marketing templates, covers, banners, signs, etc., things that you can use when you're putting out, whether for sale signs or hosting networking events. 60 social media posts formatted for Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and an email campaign with templates. And then there's also custom marketing that will be personalized for you. You get a personalized Real Agents of Change page. So personally, mine is www.therock.com/Alan. So you would have, whatever page that you want to have with your name. It could be your business name. Another powerful tool for you. You can just direct people straight to the website under your name. You get the 101 presentation slide deck so that you can do your own 101s, which I think everyone here is fully capable of doing. If I can do it, you can do it. And I did it last Wednesday. I'm not even a real estate agent. Charitable Real Estate Roadmap. This is a basic diagram of the process from the beginning to the very close of how the charitable gifting real estate works. So when you have your own personalized roadmap, it'll have your information on there right now. I think the one that's very small, but this has got Michael DeShavi's personal information on there. So when he gives this to a nonprofit, he wants to deal with them. And it just simplifies the process so that they can look at it and see what it actually takes to accept the funding from a gift of real estate. The training and the strategy, 5 live training strategies with Cammy personally and expert guests. This will be every Thursday at 7 o'clock. We do a live strategy session that you'll have access to as a champion. And like I said, thousands of hours of worth of video, interviews, training, research, testimonials. There's just so much to talk about with that. It's so valuable. The affiliate status goes from 10% to 25% with the champion. So normally the cost to become a champion is $2,000. We've discounted it today for $1,000, and you even have an extra coupon code today. It's RAOC. I'm going to put this in the chat, but it's RAOC 0719. So it's RAOC, Real Agents of Change, and today's date 0719, and that'll give you an extra discount so that you pay $400 is the investment for the specialist. And then to upgrade to champion, it'll be another $600 investment, and that's it. So that's super cheap. Now, here's the thing, is that as an affiliate, as a champion, if someone becomes just a specialist, you get 25% referral fee for bringing them to become a specialist. That's $100 right back to you. So for, you bring 10 people over the course of a year, it's paid for itself, even if they're just specialists. But as a champion, you get 25% of whatever they end up investing into the Real Agents of Change. So it's a much larger return on your investment. You get access to the private Facebook group, the Inner Sanctum. So there's a lot of information that we exchange in the private Facebook group, more documents that get printed and then just posted right in there that you won't get access to without being a champion. And then, of course, a hard copy autographed by Cammy herself. Hard copy of Real Estate is Hot, Fundraising is Not, which is the core. The information is the core of everything that we're talking about today. Now, some of the things I was talking about, I want to play this little video while I finish up the rest here. This is some of the marketing that Danielle has put together.
You can't see it,
Very
Alan.
late. What's that, Cammy?
You can't see it. You need to change your screen.
Hold on. It doesn't change. Oh, I got to change this. Okay, I got to share the new screen. There we go. Tell me if this works. You getting that one?
Yep.
All right. So this is some of the marketing you get as a champion. This is, yeah, there's so many of these that Danielle's worked on. This is just a tiny little fraction of it that you can design, you can modify for your own personal use. You can use it just as is. But these are like just different options that you have that as a champion, this is unlocked for you. These are all like very powerful, sometimes even provocative slides that talk, that speak to the heart of people, things that are, sometimes a bit, a little jolting, but, this is what's needed in this environment. We're going to bring billions of dollars to the nonprofit world. They need to wake up. It's ironic that they're the ones who are usually the resistance that to be able to receive these funds, and not, these nonprofits are so, used to saying no to real estate. They don't know about this secret way, this unique way of accepting the funding. And that's it. So just to summarize, guys, you can become a specialist with a $400 investment today. Normally, to upgrade to champion will cost another $1,000, but today it'll be discounted with. Let me put this. I'm gonna put the unless somebody else, Cammy, can you do that? Put the
I did.
RAOC. Okay, cool.
I did. They have it.
Thank you.
Alan,
Yes. How do I stop sharing?
just go down to the bottom with the stop share, the red button.
I think I did it, right?
Nope, still seeing it.
You got a dog over here. Hey, dog.
Honestly. Done. Thank you. All right. And that's it. Cammy, you got it from here?
Are we going to take a 5-minute break?
I'm sorry.
Are we going to take a 5-minute break?
Oh, I think we're going to take a 5-minute break.
Guys, we're going to take a 5-minute break. When we come back, this will give you a chance to go over and look at the RAOC.com/store. And you can take a look at exactly what is part of the specialist package versus the champion, knowing that that coupon is good till midnight tonight. We just do this when we have the master class. We want to give you that incentive to go ahead, because look, we need your help. We want to give $1 billion a year to the nonprofit world, and we want to give the realtors 50 million in commissions over each year, and we can't do that by ourselves. So go take a peek at it. Next, we're going to have one final session that is all about who do you talk to? What do you say? We're going to go through about 30 minutes of that, and we're going to assume if you stay with us, that means you're ready to go from key number 1 to key number 2, which is lead generate, and that's what champions do. So we'll see you back here right at 2 p.m.
I'm still on. I'll come in there. We're just on a quick 5-minute break for those that are on my social media. So we'll be back in a few. Everyone in this room, we're just on a quick 5-minute break. Thank you so much for coming and listening. And if you want to know more about
guys, we're going to be stepping into the next segment. Just a minute. Just thought I'd jump on. It's 1:58. Does anybody have a question or two while we're waiting to get into the last section? 9 billion. By the way, we are going to start having a book review. We're not sure if we're going to do it once or twice a week or what that's going to look like, but there are 43 sections in the book, and we're going to break it down by different groups of sections to really walk through all 5 keys. So you've just been part of key number 1. You've learned what charitable real estate is. The book really gets into step 2 and especially step 4 of how to leverage this. So anyone who has been part, is a specialist or a champion, anyone who's bought the book will be part of the book review. And we are actually also having nonprofits that are buying dozens of the book. In some cases are starting to order hundreds to hand out to the realtors and financial advisors in their area. Real estate companies are wanting to share this with their realtors. In other words, making money, making a difference is what it's all about. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to assume that those of us who are still here see the value in actually taking action. Because knowing what charitable real estate is, so what? So what? If we don't talk to people and actually help to find the people who want to donate and have these really interesting, sophisticated conversations, which lead us into relationships and rapport and resources that we wouldn't have had without them. We are all in the group living examples of the relationships that are created. I mean, even Sam is just a soldier. He's a warrior for us out in the world, and he's doing it on Clubhouse. He has talked to, 50 nonprofits, couple that he's doing like different programs with. So in other words, really giving him a chance as a hero to get out and help others. So let me share my screen, and we're going to go through a memory jogger list first. Because people will say to me, Cammie, who do I talk to? What do I say to this person, to that person? And when you are part of the champion package and we have the videos and we have the purpose workshop and we go through like, what is your purpose? And we talk about what is their purpose, meaning the people that we are talking to, whether it's a one-on-one conversation over coffee, whether it is a post that we're putting on social media, whether it's an e-blast to 100,000 people, we need to know what's in it for them. Why would they be interested in this? And the third P is about your presence. Like, who are you being in the conversation? Are you showing up confident, convicted, like really on fire to let people know about this? Or are you scared and reserved because you don't really understand it? So we're going to start keeping it really simple with our top 10 memory jogger list. To start thinking about who would you talk to. And we are going to have a little bit of back and forth, a little bit of engagement with this. So be prepared. Because look, if you're not willing to talk about it with me, you're definitely not going to talk about it with anybody else. So the memory jogger list, we call it the top 10. It might be that you know 2 people in this category, and it might be that you know 100. You just say top 10 to keep it simple. So for example, altruistic donors. Friends, if this is really important to you, if you really want to help your causes and communities, if you're ready to step up and do what you say you want to do, then get a pen and paper out and write down at least one name for each of these categories. Everyone knows someone who gives to a nonprofit for all the right reasons. You've got a friend that's got breast cancer, or her mother had breast cancer, and now she wants you to go on the breast cancer rally walks. We all know someone who gives all they can to the animal rescue shelter because they just flat out love the dogs. So if you're a nonprofit and you're an animal shelter, you should have 500 of these at least. But everyone knows at least one. Numbers focused donors. So there are some people that we know that donate just because they do want to get that tax write-off, just because they want to be seen in the community as how much they gave last year, just because they want to be acknowledged for being a generous donor. We all know that person, and sometimes we know 10 or 10,000. Volunteers. Who do you know that's always cleaning the cages out, got at the animal rescue? Who do you know that's out helping our veterans? Who do you know that goes out on Earth Day to clean the beach? And if you're a nonprofit, who are those people that show up to sell your raffle tickets and put all the flowers on the table for your gala? Friends, we gave you a warning in the beginning. This can be a blessing or a curse. It is a blessing when you write these names down and you actually take the action to speak to them from the heart and let them know there's a better way. And it is a curse if you sit here and watch what we're doing and don't say anything to these people, knowing how bad the world is suffering and struggling, and how we could actually be the ones that help. What about your past clients? If you're in real estate for more than 3 years, you should have at least 50 past clients. I'd like to think that if you've been in business for 10 years, you got at least 500 or 1,000. Your past clients, if you're in real estate, you know the people that have the veteran flag outside. You know the woman that's got 10 cats in the house. Guys, you've got past clients, you've got current clients. All right. Even realtors on here know other realtors, and you know realtors in other cities and other states. Guys, there's 1.5 million nonprofits. If you're in California, there's 5,000 per county. If you're anywhere in the country, there's at least 499 per county. You cannot help all of them. You definitely can't help the ones that aren't in your marketplace, and you can get a referral fee, both from us as an affiliate and for referring these donations of real estate. And if you're wanting to build a real estate team of other realtors, we got a whole module on recruiting. So who are the realtors that you know? And if you're a nonprofit, you need to think of all the realtors you know all over the country, because they are going to help you find donations, because they're going to get paid to do it. Financial advisors, everybody knows 1 or 2 or 10. Every one of us have met with one at a Panera's for an hour talking about how we're all going to send each other business. Guys, if you're a real estate agent, instead of being stuck with one financial advisor, what if you actually brought this to 500 of them? Now, I know that I can have big vision and think of things in big ways, but if you want to be a Superman kind of person, you can get on the stage and speak to 500 of them. If you're a Clark Kent and you'd rather be behind the scenes, we can help you with that too, but you got to make the list first. Property managers. Cammie Baker, why would you have us put property managers on a list about charitable gifting and real estate? There is no one else that is going to be more boisterous about the property owners they know that are having tenant, trash, and toilet issues. Property managers know who owns property, who wants to sell property. You should be making friends with them anyway. And besides that, guys, property managers, you know, one of them's a veteran. One of them is a survivor of domestic abuse and is helping a women's shelter. One of them brings their dog with them to the office every day. Like, really start thinking this through. Thinking about the title companies, the mortgage companies, the property managers. So there's all the ancillary real estate businesses on top of all the specific businesses that would benefit from a veteran campaign or an animal campaign or a university campaign. All right, who are the nonprofits? You know, you would not have shown up to a charitable real estate masterclass knowing that this has to do with funding nonprofits if you didn't know at least one. And if you don't know any, well, hello, this is a good time to start meeting them, start chatting them up. That's, friends, that's how we do business. Meeting and mingling our way to millions. So the nonprofits, this is a top 10 memory jogger list. I'll bet every one of us knows at least 10. I'll bet some of us know 50. I'll bet some of us will be brazen enough to do a Google search and pull up the list of 499 in their county. Influencers. Why would we talk to influencers about charitable gifts of real estate? Because they're on Facebook and TikTok and LinkedIn talking about how their child has autism or how their husband survived the war in Afghanistan. Friends, influencers are people that can help you influence your market with this information, and they all have someone or something that they care about and take a stand for. Property owners, imagine that. Who do we know that has real estate? And guess what? Who are we to prejudge what someone owns, what they would do with it, who they might donate or how much they might donate? Don't pre-qualify people. It's none of your business why they would want to donate or if they would want to donate. Our job is to simply let them know that this is an option for them. Because guess what? Property owners know other property owners. And maybe the one you're talking to only owns their primary residence, but maybe just last week they were talking to someone who inherited a property or was talking about they don't know what they're going to do with this property with all the capital gains tax. Just let them know. Center of influence, we're all at least in our 20s, most of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. We got big centers of influence, friends. The fact is, they deserve to know. Just like you, just like me, I was completely ignorant, had no idea, and you were too until today. Let's let people know. Let's simply inform them. Let's do the right thing. Real estate related businesses. So I've got a whole list of these, and I'm actually putting it all together to help do these individual social responsibility campaigns. And the real estate related businesses are all the same for any campaign, any market. And then it is the specific type of nonprofit that will change who else we add to the social responsibility campaign. But think about the plumber, the painter, the contractor, the landscaper, the home inspector, the home stager, obviously the mortgage and the title and the insurance and the title insurance, and the roofer and the deck builder and the fencer. Why would we talk to them? Well, first and foremost, because they're human beings who have a heart, have things and people and places and planets and pets that they care about. And second of all, or even maybe first of all, they're real estate related businesses. They want to talk to realtors. The last 3 events that we have done have all been sponsored or hosted by a title company, and the majority of the people in the room were realtors. So they want to get in front of more realtors. And depending on what your business strategy is, I don't know who you want to get in front of or what you want to do, but when you can show 20, 30, 40 businesses how they can get in front of realtors, it's just a matter of time before you're at the center of attention of this whole donations of real estate campaign. So we can focus these campaigns directly on who you want to do business with. Maybe you want to do business with families that are selling a house and upgrading to the next level of house. Whole campaign for that. Maybe you want to do business with financial advisors. Maybe you want to do business with, maybe you want to be the go-to for all nonprofits in your area. But friends, it starts with creating a name list. Talked about those animal lovers. You know, Giving USA is the Bible of donations and percentages and who gets what and how do people give. And it broke my heart when I saw on their pie chart that animals are the least donated to cause, and they are bulked together with the environment. Environment and animals together, 3%. I personally want to do something about that. Children advocates, my goodness, so many people are doing something for foster kids, children that are abused in this world. If you are a realtor and you want to get in front of those families that have those children that are 5, 6, 7 years old, and they need to sell that house and move into a bigger house, you can get them on both sides of the transaction. Children advocate. We can talk a lot more about why that's a big deal. Environmentalist, we all know somebody who's posted a GoFundMe account on Facebook to save the local duck or something. Environmentalist, you know at least one of them. You know at least somebody who is concerned enough about the environment that they talk to you about not using straws, whatever that is. Oh, the senior care businesses. Hearing aids, dentures, walkers, senior living facilities, burial plots, headstones, people that do mobile hairstyle. There's some people that run errands for the elderly. Guys, the abundance here is overwhelming. How many ways we can make money making a difference through charitable gifting of real estate. Healthcare providers. Tammy, why would we want to go talk to a doctor or someone who handles trauma, PTSD, nurses? Friends, healthcare providers in general, they're healthcare providers. They're helping people who need and use and leverage and are part of nonprofits. Children with diabetes, heart care issues, people with brain traumas. So the healthcare providers, your doctor, your nurse, your podiatrist, your cardiologist, they are all helping nonprofits, and they are all doing social responsibility campaigns because they know that when it comes time to choose a cardiologist, or a pediatrician, they know that if they're seen out in the public doing good things, that it's good for business. Put them on the list. Don't worry about what to say yet. Just put them on the list. Veterans, veteran businesses. Who do you know that is we see them all the time. Maybe it's just me that's noticing the vehicles around me because I'm on a motorcycle and so I'm looking at it. But I see veteran-owned business on the side of vans every day, on trucks. The painters and the contractors and the air conditioning specialists and the plumbers that say veteran-owned businesses. What about the businesses that aren't owned by veterans, but they support veterans? Like veterans drink coffee for free here every Monday. Veterans get 10% off. We support our local veterans. What about the veterans themselves? Who do you know that's a veteran? Because I guarantee you, there is a nonprofit like Mission 22. Did you know that 22 of our veterans commit suicide every day? Mission 22 is helping with that, and there's so many more just like it. And the veterans themselves, we all could put together a list right there, 20 people. Religious affiliations. I do not understand. I cannot comprehend how anyone could learn about this and go back to church on Sunday and look people in the eye and not tell them that they found a way that the church doesn't have to suffer and struggle and be financially underwater anymore. I just don't know. I don't know. Happens, but I don't know. What about all the people in the church, all the pews that you sit on every day? There are so many people in this group that know big people that are up in the Catholic Church, in Jehovah's Witness, and Baptist, like Jewish. God, the Jewish community is so huge and so underserved and underutilized when it comes to sharing this information with them. Friends, who do you know? Here's another statistic for you. Remember how I said earlier, the most underserved nonprofits is environment and animals all bunched together. They get 3%. Here's another statistic. The largest group of nonprofits that receive funding is religion. 28%. One out of every $3 that's given to nonprofits goes to churches. If you're not talking to these people, I'm just going to say it. Shame on you. University affiliations. Woo! All the schools, all the private schools. You got your kid went to private school. You went to a university. Your kids right now are going to a university. People who love to recycle, you know them. They're making those posts all the time. People who are always wanting to change the world, you know who they are too. They're always talking about what's broken. I don't know if they know how to fix it, but they sure do know what's broken. We can let them know how to fix it. We can help fund the nonprofit world. People who are talking about starting their own nonprofit. I meet these people every week. Every week I meet people who are starting nonprofits. People who are healthy and talk about health. You know, that's another one for Alan. Not only is he a veteran, not only is he faith-based, not only does he have a rescue animal, but he's healthy and he talks about health. Like, you know, for him to actually, if he wanted to build his personal trainer business, he could build it around talking to people about charitable gifting of real estate. It's another whole conversation, but it's there. People who are retired. We are traveling the country in this RV. Every RV park we go to, I would say 70% of the people per park are retired and over 65 and traveling from someplace else, we've got to put right on the outside of our RV, donate real estate. You choose the charity, we'll do the rest. They're retired. We need to be talking to them about this. Seniors, the seniors themselves. When you think about where is real estate going to come from? Where's these donations going to come from? People that are 65 and older, they are typically have a higher level of education. They typically have a higher income bracket. They typically own multiple properties. They're typically a senior. Whether they have children or not is irrelevant, but the seniors are where we're going to find a lot of these properties. So I would like to just have a quick chitty chat. I'd like to find out, who have you thought of? You don't have to give us people's names and telephone numbers, but just, I'd like to hear some input as to whether or not, did you think of somebody that, Sam, did you think of somebody going through this again that you hadn't thought of before? Beverly, have you thought of someone? Jackie, Barkley, I'd love to hear if this is helping at all.
Amy, it definitely is. I think that, I'm 5 months into real estate. I've had 3 transactions, and I already think of one client that comes to mind. So absolutely.
Good for you. And you're 5 months in real estate. You could be outperforming the local superstar very quickly. If you start talking about that, it depends. Are you, Jackie, more of a superwoman and you want to be out in front of people and be on video? Or are you more of the quiet behind the scenes person?
I'm the one where they say, don't put baby in the corner. So you can put me on stage. Absolutely.
Well, you could be speaking to veteran groups,
put baby in the corner, honey.
Rotaries, churches. You could just be doing Facebook Lives. There's so many ways to get you in front of hundreds and thousands of people, not the least of which doing Yahoo Finance article. I can show you how to do that, where you can leverage that for the rest of your career, being seen in Yahoo Finance. But, if we're just talking about typical real estate stuff, well, anybody can talk about that. But charitable gifting of real estate, that's something people will want to interview you about. Vince is asking, so what does the introvert do? Sometimes the introvert's even better, Vince, because sometimes people that are very extroverted and chatty are talking so much, they don't know how to listen. So it might be that you as an introvert, you're probably listening and watching and observing more than the extrovert. And therefore, you probably know even more of these people. Now, you may not have big, huge conversations with them, but I need to know a little bit more, Vince. I know you don't have a microphone and you can't come on, or can you, introvert? But if you tell me a little bit in the chat, are you a realtor? What is your intention with this? Do you run a nonprofit? Who do you want to do business with? So thank you for the question. So what does the introverts do? The fact is, I need a little bit more information than that. It's kind of like if a realtor says, hey, I'm going to call for sale by owners. What do I say if they ask me my commission? Well, that depends. Where are you at in the conversation? Are you on the phone or are you at the door? What is their motivation? Have you built rapport? Do you know why they're selling? In other words, you need a little bit more information than just what does an introvert do. So strictly for the information, none of the above. I don't even know what that means. If you can formulate for me what you would want to do with this, it would help. So you're not an agent. Are you a nonprofit? Are you a financial advisor? Are you a business owner? Are you a concerned local citizen? Are you a veteran? Are you an animal lover? What brings you here? Vince, it's like pulling teeth, bro. If you want to have a conversation with me, let me know why you're here and what you'd want to talk to people about. What is your motivation. Because I don't know what an introvert would do if I don't know why he would want to talk to anybody. And this is what we talk about, right? Thank you for helping us to ferret this out. As a specialist, you get certified and you can be on the map and you can come talk to Realty Gift Fund. That's awesome. That's a huge step in the right direction. But as a champion, now we want to start talking about who do you want to talk to? Like, do you want to be the go-to realtor for everyone in the Tri-County area? Do you want to be focused hyper on helping domestic abuse? Are you not even sure like what nonprofit turns you on, but you just know you want more listings and you want them in that neighborhood over there? Are you a nonprofit who's looking to build another school for the kids in Africa and you need $1 million and you've already tapped out your donors? Like there's, just need a little bit more information to be able to answer a lot of questions. Beverly, I haven't seen you here in quite some time. I'd be interested in who you thought of since we've been going through this.
Well, it's giving me my confidence up. I'm actually changing financial advisors. So I'm going to speak with a new financial advisor actually tomorrow. So this just re-energizing myself into the language and things it's given me more confidence to go. When I talk to him, he will be presenting me for something and then I can ask him for something, kind of give and take return. So that's what I got out of it just a minute ago.
I love this conversation because when you say he's asking you for something and you're asking him for something, might I offer up, you are giving him the gift of knowing that this is a way he can build his business too. So for example, Alan and I, through our friend Jessica Peterson, we were introduced to a financial advisor. This was about a month ago. And this just goes to show you need to qualify people before you take the time to go to a Panera's and sit with them. But very rare that people actually get out and meet face to face anymore. We were at the gym. It was right across the street. So we go meet this woman. She's a financial advisor for 6 months and doesn't even know what a donor advised fund is. Like she literally took her pen and wrote down the words so that she could ask her mentor about it. So when people say financial advisor, financial professional, that's like saying teacher. Kindergarten, elementary, high school, physics, 1 year, 20 years, grad school,
Yeah. So when I talk to him and say some of these terms, if he doesn't know what these terms are, then he's probably not the person I want to handle my financial advisement.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's number one. And number two, he wouldn't be any good to you in this business anyway. Mm-hmm. Like, God bless. If he doesn't know what she didn't know what it was. I mean, she was so new and green and uneducated. And that's why, Jackie's been in the business for 5 months. And typically we say we are looking for seasoned professionals because they just, like, for example, Beverly's been an agent for 10, 15,
21 years.
21 years. So you know how to write a contract. You've already got a big center of influence. You're already wanting to help Make-A-Wish Foundation. You already know all these people. You're so seasoned now, we can just help you to leverage those relationships a little bit differently and to elevate who you're meeting and mingling and hanging out with. Whereas Jackie is a little bit newer, but Jackie, you're both beautiful, but she's also a go-getter. She's in a really, like she just said, she's already done 3 transactions in 5 months. So she's coachable. She might be hungry. So it just kind of depends on the person as to whether or not they would be good for what we're doing. But yes, when she told us she didn't know what a donor advised fund was, and then she started saying something about basically asking if we wanted to use some of her services. I mean, I couldn't say it, but I mean, knowing what we know now, couldn't work with somebody that doesn't even know what that is.
Right.
Okay, guys, let's go back. I'm going to share the screen. It's 2:33. We want to respect your time. Just going to go through a little bit of language and mindset around a basic conversation. But please, it's kind of like giving you a knife as a 3-year-old and expecting you not to hurt yourself. You need a little bit more guidance. Like, come to the strategy sessions. We have one on Thursday night. You'll be getting an email from the team with the link to my Zoom account. You are welcome to come sit in on Thursday night just to kind of get a taste of the strategy session. But ultimately, if you're not part of the champions, if you're not getting coached and mentored and talking strategy and telling me who you want to talk to, why you want to talk to them, are they altruistic or numbers focused? Are they 65 as a financial advisor, have already made so much money that they're wanting to leave legacy and help their clients leave legacy? Or are they 28, don't know what a donor advice fund is, and just want to build their business? Because all these factors are dependent on what would you say to so-and-so. But let me share the screen and we'll have this last little bit because I want to respect your time. So our friend, Dr. Russell James, says, remember the 4 S's, story, 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 stop talking. Guys, I cannot recommend his writings, his scripting, his books more. I just couldn't. Dr. Russell James. Alan, if you want to put that in the chat, you can find him really easily on LinkedIn. Let him know that the Real Agents of Change sent you. He will send you over 60, 70, 80 links to books and videos and things that he and his team have written. It's all about nonprofit psychology and just how to create these conversations from the hero's journey and the Socratic fundraiser where you're asking people questions that help to educate them on something. So he's just really got this thing nailed in. Story, 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 stop talking. What does that mean? The easiest way to make the first call or the first contact or have the first conversation, I heard an interesting story last night, or I heard an interesting story in this class that I was in yesterday, or I heard about this interesting way to fund nonprofits, or hey, you know what, financial advisor, I was sitting in a class yesterday and I heard about a way that financial advisors like you are liquidating hard assets and putting it in donor advised funds and adding to their assets under management. Now, that was a mouthful. I wouldn't expect you to say that right now. But what I'm saying is that was a story. The story of what you heard. The story of an example. You know what? I heard an example in a class yesterday about a woman that was donating $25 a year for 32 years. And next thing you know, she was donating a piece of real estate to that nonprofit and they had zero risk. That's a story that you can share with a nonprofit that you're wanting to talk to. I thought you'd find it interesting. In other words, letting the person know that you reached out to them because you knew that they would find it interesting. Or think about the people that you know, your past clients. John and Mary. John and Mary are your past clients. They bought a house from you. They sold a house through you. They bought investment property through you. You know John is a veteran, and you know that Mary had breast cancer. And you know that they're beautiful people, and you've seen on their Facebook how they're doing a walk for life. You've seen him on a poker run with his veteran brothers and sisters. Friends, I'm telling this story because you all know this person or this couple. And you could reach out to them, to John and Mary, and you could say, you know what? You guys bought a house from me a couple of years ago. My bad. I haven't been in touch in quite some time, but I thought about you. I knew you'd find this interesting. I was in a class yesterday and I heard a story about how nonprofits are being funded by tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. John, I know you're a veteran. Mary, I know you had breast cancer. I just want you to know, as this area's first charitable real estate champion, certified specialist, I just want you to know, if you'd like to introduce me to the people that run that poker run and that help with that relay for life, I'll be happy to share with them how they can actually bring in millions of dollars. Now, story. We didn't get into details. We didn't talk about percentages. These are just examples. It depends on how well you know them. You know, there's a big difference between cold market and warm market. Lots of variables. I learned a way our nonprofit can 6 times donations. Friends, if you sit on a board for a nonprofit, you sit on a board for a nonprofit and you don't say that to them, how could you possibly look them in the eye and listen to them talk about how much they're suffering, how expensive the venue is for this upcoming thing, how raffle tickets aren't selling like they should be, how the golf tournament might get canceled because the next round of COVID's coming. Friends, these nonprofit boards that we're sitting on that are barely bringing in $30,000, $50,000 for the year, or bringing in 3 or 5 or 10 million. If it's a nonprofit that's bringing in a few million, imagine if they could 6 times that. Imagine. So when you speak to them from the heart and you simply share a story, you know, like Beverly, hey, you know what? I'm a real estate agent. I've been a realtor for 21 years. I've loved Make-A-Wish and my church and all these nonprofits for all these years. And I've become Tennessee's first charitable real estate specialist. And it is my moral obligation to let you all know you don't have to struggle for cash. You got to open up your mind. You got to be visionary. You got to want to help the veterans and the kids and the animals like you say you do. And I don't expect Beverly to talk to them quite that straight like I would, but I'm just giving you points of reference that we at the Real Agents of Change are taking a stand. We will take a stand with you, beside you. We will help you with presentations. We will talk to nonprofits. We will talk to donors. We will talk to the financial advisors. We do speaking engagements all the time now. And it just depends. It's always kind of tailored to them and what they need. So questions, comments, hallucinations. Let's go another 5 minutes, and then I'll put my, Alan, can you please put my cell number and my email and your cell number and email, and just so that people know how they can get a hold of us if they have any private questions. Sometimes people need financing. That's okay. We can help you with that in private. Sometimes people need a 5-minute personal conversation to really understand how this can help their business, or how it can help their nonprofit, or how I've got a call after this with a woman who's doing an event for her nonprofit, and she wants me to get on the stage and tell them about charitable real estate. Kelly, what about you? What's going on with you, my friend? You're in Hawaii, aren't you?
I am. So, aloha everyone. I'm excited. I just signed up. Maybe it's been like a month. Yeah.
Yeah. So what can we do to support you? What are you hearing this time that maybe you didn't hear the last time, just because we all learn a little something new every time?
I think For me, what I learned most this time was I've really been thinking about my list of the nonprofits locally. So that exercise we did where we thought of different people was really helpful. So my list is growing, which is good to plan my event where I'm going to share out. Yeah.
Let's you and I send me a private message out of here on my cell, and let's set up a strategy call so we can get you off the ground and rocking and rolling and see what kind of support we can offer. We can get a Charitable Real Estate 101 scheduled for you where you invite everyone, or I can role play with you to invite people to ours, whatever is going to be most supportive for you. Did you get a copy of the book yet? I don't think so. Send me your address, Kelly. I want to mail you a copy of the book. Okay, guys, anything going on that I can help you with, or do you want to take it to personal? Either way.
When are y'all coming to Nashville?
I have a half brother that's in Tennessee, and he is begging me to come up there at $5 a gallon and 8 miles to the gallon. We got to have some financial reason to come up there.
We can't make that happen.
It's basically $1 a mile to go anywhere. It's crazy anymore.
It is.
Thanks for coming, Vince. Glad to have you. I hope you learned something that you can take to the world in a big positive way. Same for all of you.
Got to come to EXP. Got to come to EXPCon. I'll be there. EXPCon. Got to come.
Where's that at? Is it Texas?
No, Vegas.
Vegas.
October 11th through the 14th. I already have my registration as well as rooms and everything.
How many people are they expecting?
We're gonna have at least 3,000 there. It's packed during. We got the Mandalay Bay, and there's a couple more hotels that we have next to it also.
I wish you could have been with us at the EXP event in Orlando 3 weeks ago when they opened up Universal Studios to only about 3,000 people. And 3,000 people is nothing in a theme park. Alan could tell you, going from ride to ride to ride, no line, just walk in and get on, food vendors free between every ride. After the third ride, I was going to throw up. I was like, ugh. Normally you've got 2 hours to wait in line, waiting for the next ride to kind of calm down. It was wonderful, though. Fabulous.
Yeah, we hit 83,000 agents now. 83,000. So if just a small percentage of those go to Vegas, it's gonna be rocking. Can't wait.
I'm so happy you're going. I know we just love you, Sam. You just say we love you. We love your commitment. We love your fire, your energy, and you're just a real heart-centered businessman. We love you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Cammie.
Kelly, I see your message. Just send me a message and let's set up a call. Okay, guys, I want to respect your time. Have a great day. Remember, tomorrow, therock.com/101. If you have someone that needs to hear this information, you can send them or bring them. It's 12 noon Eastern time, but there's also a recording at that link, therock.com/101. And it's just a way to get a little tiny taste. See you later. Bye.
All right, give me 1 second. Let me get my camera rolling here. Awesome. Here we go. That should work. Welcome back. I hope you learned something about charitable gifts of real estate. If you want to know more, please let's connect. You can go to samrocks.com, samrocks.com. It's right there. And I'm going to end this broadcast. Thank you so much for coming, and we will talk to you soon. Bye for now.